The title is missing one of the words from the song. That's a big moral failure there. I should have put it in the title. Oh, here we go again. Hi, Pixie. Hi, Bone. I fucking love this streaming shit. This shit's awesome. So cool. You're so right. One of the coolest things ever. Real shit. Fucking, if Andrew wants to do a 2v2 debate on trans issues, why does he not do the debate on the 2v2 debate on trans issues that me and Dakota have been trying to have for fucking ages? Since it should be back on the Crucible. That would bang. That'd be content. HR department. And there never will be. Fuck, maybe I have to establish one, because I guess like the popular thing to do with streamers like sexual immorality, but we'll see. Like shorty, what to do? Got a bad bitch, show me I'ma leave with you. If I walk up in the party, motherfuckers better move. If a motherfucker try me, I'ma put him on the news. I don't want no fucking bitch, cause I came in the club with a hit. Watch out, motherfucker, cause I'm looking for a lick. Got diamonds on my wrist, brass knuckles on my fist. I'm slapping motherfuckers in the face in the pit. Might hit him in the head, I got 100 in the clip. Wait, little bitch, don't want that. I'ma put a blade through his chest like a thumb like that. This chopper gon' have a run in. Fucking on this bitch, I'ma fuck her never coming. Got a bad little bitch in the crib, and she up to something. I'ma walk up in this bitch, I don't care if they tell me come in. Cause I get in that bitch, and I'm looking for a body. I feel like murder is a motherfucking hobby. And I'm coming off the top, feeling like I'm Jafari. I'm blood on the dance floor, broke up in the party. Put on my shirt for the vendetta. It's up, I'm in the face, my booty nuts don't get off. Heads up, I'm getting fed up. Pull up with the gun and mark your head up, bitch.
Завали ебальник. Ты это мне сказал? Да, это тебе хуй. Выйди нахуй с комнаты.
I know at least one person wants to come on.
Я тебя сейчас уебало выйду.
We will see. We'll see what kind of conversation we get to that.
Like shorty, what to do? Got a bad bitch, show me I'ma leave with you. If I walk up in the party, motherfuckers better move. If a motherfucker try me, I'ma put him on the news. Goddamn, I don't want no fucking bitch, cause I came in the club with a motherfucking stick. Got diamonds on my wrist, brass knuckles on my face. I'm slapping motherfuckers in the face in the pit. Might hit him in the head, I got 100 in the clip. Wait, little bitch, don't want that. I'ma put a blade through his chest like a thumb like that. This chopper gon' have a run in. Fucking on this bitch, I'ma fuck her never coming. Got a bad little bitch in the crib, and she up to something. I'ma walk up in this
Live in 2 minutes. Discord link is in the description. Hello, everyone. How are we today? Well, it is a beautiful day to be live streaming because where I live right now, it's like fucking -9 degrees outside, some -30 with a wind chill. Shit's cold as fuck. It sucks. So, I mean, what else do I have to do? I'm bored as fuck. I might as well boot up a live stream. I got people who want to talk to me. At least one who wants to talk to me from Twitter. Sailor apparently thinks that I didn't have time to give proper pushback to the things that I said last stream. So we should be talking to them, and then I'll be taking some callers in, and we'll be seeing what everybody has to say. We're gonna be talking about the Chud Logic stuff again. Unfortunately, there's better things to be talking about, to be honest with you, but this one's a little bit of a fun one. Maybe we'll talk about some Destiny stuff, I'm not sure. At some point I might I might do like a deep dive into Destiny stuff, but like really strongly, I feel as though public comment is not the move right now. I don't think I want to be the one to stake out a claim on that just yet. I haven't. To be fair, like a pretty big portion of that is like I do just have a broad bias against Destiny. Right, just broadly speaking, I think that he has acted in a lot of immoral ways. Besides the stupid shit that's come out recently, that doesn't seem out of character from my perspective. But we might take a look at that as things develop a little bit more. I ratioed you on Twitter. What did you ratio me on Twitter with? Hold on, let me open up my Twitter. What did I get epically ratioed by? What's the thing that matters? Oh my god. Is this actually... Oh. The fact that even still to this day, you don't realize I was fucking with you the whole time by purposely making retarded statements really shows how big of a retard you are. I'm assuming that that in itself is supposed to be a retarded statement. I'm not going to respond to that one. I'll learn my lesson, we'll say, and I'll just not respond to that. It's fine. You can have that up on Twitter. I'm glad you got your likes, buddy. Well then, we should pretty soon have Sailor joining in to the callers chat. I'm not sure if they have the link. If they're having trouble finding the link, they can message me or put it out in the side chat, and I'll drag them in at any given time. I would say I would take callers in the meantime, actually, but I probably shouldn't because I think that I think they're pretty intent on doing this particular conversation. Bunk streams are super entertaining. Thank you. They're the most entertaining thing on the goddamn planet. Absolutely. You're molding? What's there to mold about? Dog, it's a bunch of like, yeah, some people don't like me on Twitter. Big shit, big deal. I've been like, the most they know about me is like 2 hours of live streaming, which I put up in like the last year. Right? You think that I actually care about that? I'm sorry, I have real problems to deal with in like the real world. You're so mad, Blawbunk, so mad. I am mad, and you're mad that I'm mad, and that makes me mad in turn. And so there's like this big chain of mad. It does not stop. It indefinitely goes. I'm absolutely seething. No, it's like fucking. Oh shit. Holy fuck. Okay, Sailor's about to pop in. All right. Well, we got the first caller for the stream. We're doing this. All right. Yo, what's up? How you doing, dude? Oh shit, is my stuff fucked up? It is fucked up. There you go. Hi. Can you hear me? Sailor, you're muted and deafened in Discord. And locally muted and deafened. So I can't do anything about that, but... Welcome back, King. Hi, Wacky. It's been a while. What you been up to?
Sorry. I was having a little technical issue there.
That's alright. Hear you loud and clear now?
Alright, cool. Let me see if I can. Okay. Now we're back.
Fantastic.
How's that?
Absolutely. I can hear you great.
Alright. Yeah. Okay. So, you just want to get right into it?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you took issue with some of the things I said on Twitter, or not even on Twitter, on like some podcast. You took issue with them on Twitter. And then you took issue with the tweets I had in response to that. And felt as though last time you were on my stream, you didn't have the opportunity to give a proper pushback. I don't want you to feel like that. But I do think that you are making a select few errors whenever you're trying to make arguments against the statements that I've made. While they do engage with what I've said, I don't think that they get you to the point where you want to be. But
all right. Well, first off, just out of curiosity, I was very confused by the first paragraph of the tweet you made in response to me, where you say I cut the clip right before Synth corrects my interpretation or something.
Yeah, you said that doesn't. You thought I would have a stronger condemnation, and then Synth pipes in to say, no. That sounds like a pretty strong condemnation to me. And then goes on to talk to you about why it's like incredibly morally wrong. And then you start talking about how it's actually the case that you don't really care unless it's just something that's really morally wrong or illegal. And then Dakota goes on to say, no, this sounds like a really morally wrong thing.
I remember that.
Which I do think it's a very morally wrong thing. It's like a morally reprehensible type of thing.
I understand that. The only thing that confused me was I never clipped anything from our conversation.
Whenever you had the clip of me saying something at the very beginning of it, I'm sorry, am I mistaken? Am I misreading?
Yeah, I've never clipped the clip. The only things I've clipped were from that podcast with you, Maggot, and Burn.
So I'm confused as to where you thought that I held back things from you then. Because it sounds to me like that my position was made pretty clear, and I mean I can make it again pretty clear.
In the clip, if you
think I'm being dishonest with you about my positions, like no, I own those. Like the reason I put the position out is because I wanna make sure that this is a very well known, publicly documented stance of mine.
I know. Well, I guess like I said in our initial conversation, I hadn't watched earlier in the stream. I went back and watched that today, and you had said those things earlier in the stream. But saying things like, it's trivially true that Chud is weird as fuck with little girls, and that there's absolutely no difference between...
Why there was no difference? That's not true. I never said that.
Sorry. What I meant was...
Okay.
Like, difference between 17 and 18 months old or whatever.
Yeah, my point is that if you were to hear that Chud Logic had sex with a 17 and 8 months old person, you'd find that relationship to be disgusting. You'd find it to be disgusting on a lot of grounds, right? There's a lot of things that might come to your mind as to why that's morally wrong to do. Yes, I assume that we can like kind of come up with a set of things. If it's confusing why that might be morally wrong to do, I hope I don't have to like super explain that to you. There's like a decent amount of research into the type of thing that we're talking about.
I understand that, but just before we get into all that, we'll argue about all that.
Oh, okay.
I just the point I was making in my tweet is just that when I asked you things, let me find it. Sorry, when I asked you things like, "What's the strongest condemnation you would give Chud Logic?" Like, your response was, "I have a he's a weirdo loser who is inappropriately messaging young girls." I mean,
yeah.
While that is a pretty strong condemnation, I thought that he's weird as fuck around little girls was like way crazier, and that's why I felt like, I hadn't.
The change between those two statements is young versus little. I don't think that that's like a crazy or different statement. Whenever we're talking about it being like a little girl, like yeah, it's a little girl. To Chud Logic, that's a little girl. Right? If you're fucking 33, that's a little girl. Like, everybody would call me a kid online whenever I was 18, and they were around Chud Logic's age. Nobody had a problem with that.
Also, okay.
Right, I think that this is like one of those... sorry, Ann?
I think it's so weird. Chud Logic has every reason to believe that this person is at least 19 as well, not 18, right?
No.
Yes.
They say they're 18. They're 18 up. Right, which is, we all understand that to be, if a website's 18 and up, that means 18 plus is 18 and up.
Hold on, he does say that, but then later in the conversation, he says, well, it's just inappropriate for me to flirt with someone who is underage or even young, like 18.
Yeah, like 18. And then they say they're 18 plus.
That's inappropriate, and so it's reasonable.
Yeah, he knows it's inappropriate, and he continues to go on anyway. He doesn't actually get their exact age. He also says that the rule is generally half your age plus 7.
Well, yeah, but it's implied through the conversation that she is at least 19 then, right?
No. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why you think that's implied.
Because she doesn't stop him at any point and say, no, I'm actually 18, or no, I'm actually younger than that. She just continues on and says, I don't know, sorry, I'm awkward.
So no, it's not implied that she's at least 19 years old, right? He also says, like 18, the rule is supposed to be half your age plus 7, right? For creepiness. That's what he's not okay with. Yeah. And so presumably, if you wanted to make that argument, you'd make the argument that she was like 23 or something, right? But that's like clearly not what's implied through the conversation. I mean, if you read the conversation through, she says she's 18 plus. She doesn't say that she's past that threshold. She certainly doesn't say that. right?
Did she say actually? Did she say in the log she's 18 plus? Did she say that?
Yes.
Well, I think he. Still
That's
has
why
reason.
the thing that's in contention is Chud Logic flirting with an 18-year-old. That's why nobody has an issue with me saying that, because that's what he had reason to believe, that she was just above the age of 18 at the very
But if you're engaging in a conversation, like, you would be able to see someone's age on a dating app, right? But let's say for whatever reason you couldn't see their age on a dating app, and you said, "Oh, I don't think I wouldn't be comfortable flirting with someone who is 18. They'd have to be a little older." And then you just say, "Sorry, I'm awkward," and continue flirting. That, like, you would assume that that person is at least 19, right?
No, I wouldn't assume that person's at least 19, especially because the additional context is that of the person
but
being.
why wouldn't you?
Because I was explaining it before you cut me off. That in the conversation itself, he said that the rule is supposed to be half your age plus 7. That's the thing that he's holding to, right? That's the general societal standard for what seems to be like a creepy relationship, a relationship with like an unhealthy type of difference between the individual's maturities. And so as he proceeds through the conversation, you'd expect for him, being that there's like a large gap there that exists for the in between 18 up and 23 years old, to try and get some more information about the individual. I know that if I was flirting with somebody on a dating app, I certainly would get more information about the individual. But we're not talking about flirting with somebody on a dating app. We're talking about being a public figure and finding them through your Discord server, which is a lot bigger of a thing. Right? There's more things you should be more careful.
If you establish a boundary with a person, you say, "I don't want to flirt with you unless you're this," but if saying your age makes you uncomfortable or whatever, then you don't have to share it. But as long as you're this plus, I'm okay with flirting with you, and then they just continue to flirt with you. I think it, like, a reasonable person.
Well, he just says it would be inappropriate. He doesn't say like that he's explicitly would not flirt with them or something like that, right? If you're gonna take from all of her statements that she actually is somewhere around 23 years old or something like that, well then, oh my God, for Chud Logic, right? There's not really an implication that exists there.
So you think that Chud Logic?
yeah, we're taking the most generous interpretation of the entailments of her words and not of Chud Logic's.
He said, "Oh, okay." So he's saying it would be inappropriate, meaning that you would assume that he would not want to engage with that person, right? If they were under 19 even, or whatever the age law thing he says, right?
So is the dispute now, because it seemed like the dispute on Twitter was completely different. The dispute now, you think, is that of the person being at least 19 years old? And I'm not sure how it's implied that they're at least 19 years old. Because if Chud Logic's a public figure, he sure as fuck should be getting the ages of these people if he's not comfortable with talking to them before he starts fucking around with them. In my opinion, right? That would not be acceptable for any other content creator to do. It just seems because people like Chud Logic, it's okay for Chud Logic to make these crazy, egregious moral wrongs.
Wait, so you think that you expect Chud Logic sexting with... By the way, Chud Logic was much smaller at this point, right? He was a smaller streamer. You expect some random smaller streamer to get an ID of everyone he engages with sexually on Discord?
At the very least, to get their fucking age. I don't think he was an incredibly small streamer. He was a fairly large streamer, large enough so that fucking Destiny covered it. It's large enough so that people are finding him through his Discord server to flirt with him. Like, I'm sorry, dog. Yeah, no, you definitely should at least get their age, don't you think?
Well, she seems obviously uncomfortable with
like,
it.
He doesn't need to get an ID at this point. What he needs to do at this point is at the very least get the fucking age. The actual fucking age of the person.
Well, she's obviously uncomfortable with sharing her age for reasons we know now.
If the person is uncomfortable with sharing their age, do you think Chud Logic should have been flirting with them? Being that they could have been only 18 years old, do you think that they should have been flirting with them?
As long as they confirm.
You don't see a reason why not? Do you think that they confirmed that they were that age?
Within his boundaries, right?
That they're within. They didn't confirm they're within the boundaries. They said 18 and up, so they won't have a legal problem. That's what was said.
No, that is his boundary. He says, "Hey, it would be inappropriate."
The statements of the girl do not say that she is of the age of 23 or older. We understand that? Okay.
I do understand.
So from Chud Logic's perspective, they are not of that age. He does not know they are of that age. From Chud Logic's perspective, they could be as young as 18. But turns out they actually are very young. Their profile picture and all of their setup looks like somebody who is very young. Chud Logic takes them to be somebody who's incredibly inexperienced with sexual relationships, and we know that as well.
Chud Logic asks them, he says, I would be very uncomfortable and I wouldn't want to engage with you if you weren't at least half my age plus 7, right? That's basically
No,
what he's saying. He
no,
says it would
he
be
doesn't say
inappropriate.
that in the messages. He said it would be inappropriate. He could do something that's
what is-
inappropriate.
What is the difference between saying I don't want to engage with you unless you're this age versus it would be inappropriate for me to engage with you if you were not this age?
One of them says that it's morally wrong. One of them says that it's not something you would want to do. You could want to
Wait,
do
do you
morally
just-
word things.
Do you think that
Right.
Chud
If we're
Logic-
going to go going under the idea that actually from Chud Logic's perspective, she could have been as old as like 27 or something like that.
Wait,
I just
so-
don't think that there is enough earnest being put on Chud Logic, the person who is 33 fucking years old at this point.
Okay, let me
God
get this straight. You
damn,
think
why is
that-
the bar so fucking low for Chud Logic?
So you think that Chud Logic announced to this girl, hey, it would be wrong for me to engage with you if you were under this age, but he didn't actually care if she was under that age or not? Do you like?
Well, I think that he thinks that it would be morally wrong, that it would look bad, but no, I don't think that he cared. I don't think that he cared enough to actually get their fucking age. Real
No,
shit.
that's
Does he have
that's
so
a
few
form of
people trying to
confirmation.
hit on him? Does he look so fucking hideous that not a single person other than this one motherfucker on Discord will fuck him?
It's a confirmation though of her. Like it is a confirmation.
No, it is not a confirmation of her age. It's
No,
nowhere near a
because
confirmation
he's-
of her age. He has no idea
in a
what their age is,
roundabout
and you
way,
admit that he has no
he's
idea
asking
what their age is.
In a roundabout way, he is asking how old she is.
In a roundabout way, he is asking how old she is. No, he's directly asking how old she is. In response, she says she's 18 plus.
Wait. Did she?
Yeah, he directly asks how old she is. I'm not
Yeah,
sure how
that's-
you missed that part of the conversation.
Well, yeah, she's asked that, and then he says.
Sorry,
that
I'm being a
she-
bit of an asshole. I'll pull back. I apologize. Real shit.
Sorry.
As I was being a bit of an asshole, I'm pulling
it's
back from
okay.
that. I apologize.
It's
I don't
fine. You
think
can
it's
be as much
justified.
asshole I want. I'm just saying it.
Well, no, I just
Like-
don't think it's morally justified from my end. Is what I'm saying. I don't want you to feel uncomfortable on the stream. Is what I'm trying to put.
No, it's fine. You can be as mean to me as you want. I genuinely don't care. I've been much meaner to people in your chat, such as Maggot Edits.
Oh Jesus, An asshole.
I know. I am a known woman hater, but it's okay. That's actually why I'm taking the Chud Logic side, just because I hate all of them. No. But yeah, I don't know. I think that is like in a roundabout way asking how old she is, and then if she was just uncomfortable sharing her age, it could have been for a multitude of reasons that he believed, but obviously we know now. Moving on to another sort of point I had is
No, I'm
wanted to
not sure why we're moving on. Do you agree then that she could have just been 18 from Chud Logic's perspective? That's what she said.
well, no, because why? Okay, if Chud
Like,
Logic believes
let's-
it to be more,
yeah.
if Chud Logic believes it to be morally wrong, if you engage with someone under 23, why would he then continue to engage with someone who he thinks is 18?
Because sometimes people do morally wrong things. Sometimes people
Don't
do
you
bad things. Oftentimes people do things that are bad sexually. Like, surely you know that many content creators engage in poor ways sexually.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
obviously.
why this is only something we give to
But-
Chud Logic.
but
Well, if
why
it's like
would
a
he-
wrong thing, then why
Okay.
would they do it? Yeah, people
Well,
are hypocrites all the time.
Let me ask this: what do you think his intention was with telling her it would be inappropriate for me to engage with someone who was under the age of 23, or in the way he said it?
To articulate why he's asking their age, just
Yeah,
in case
why-
they're
why-
uncomfortable. He's asking their age because he thinks that it would be inappropriate for him to engage with somebody who is young. Very specifically, what's on his mind is somebody who's underneath the age of 18, like a minor. That's why it's mentioned first. And then he adds on, additionally, that there are other ages which would also be inappropriate. Right, but
Exactly.
she continues to engage with him. Many people would continue to engage with that person on the theory that they're a fucking minor and they're trying to engage with you. Do you really think they're going to be like, actually, no, I'm a minor?
Well, yes, obviously. But that's
You think that if a minor started flirting with somebody who was 33, you think that they would just be like, yeah, I'm a minor at that point? Don't you think that this is like something that Chud Logic should get before he starts fucking around with the person?
well,
This is
person
some
already-
before that information.
the person already lied about their age. They said they're 18 plus, which was not true.
Well, yeah, now we know they lied about their age. They didn't already lie about their age. That was the time they lied about their age. We're talking about
At that
before
point, the
that.
conversation is what I mean. They already had lied about their age.
Then they had lied about their age. At that point in the conversation, they had lied about their age to Chud Logic. When they lied about their age, they said that they were 18 plus.
Hmm.
They didn't say I'm like within that age bracket. They didn't say something along those lines. They said that they were 18 plus.
Yeah, well, yeah, but okay. Even still, he's saying that he's I don't know. I guess I could agree that Chud Logic might have thought that she was 18. If you're like, you know.
Well, I'm just saying that that's what was told to Chud Logic. Chud Logic was told that she was over 18. At 18 or over?
Position. It's a super uncharitable position. I could agree that maybe he didn't think she was like 23 or whatever.
I'm not sure why I'm expected to be wildly charitable to somebody who can't even get the age of the person before the age of the person before they start fucking around with them. If you're a content creator, that's something you should really know. If somebody's not comfortable with giving you their age and you know that there are ages of which somebody could be legal and also be inappropriate to flirt with them, that's your responsibility. That's your responsibility as the grown-ass adult in the situation.
There's a million different reasons why somebody might not want to give their age, right?
Yeah, there's a million different reasons somebody might not want to give their age, and if they don't want to give their age, you shouldn't be sexually engaging with them.
Why not? As long as they give you the peace of mind that, hey, I'm at least this many years old, and it's all.
Yeah, the peace of mind they gave of at least I'm this many years old was 18. That's my point.
But I mean, okay. I mean,
that is my point. You got it.
I think that she definitely at least implied she was within his comfortable age range, but.
I think that she implied that she was not a minor, and that's why the issue of legality is brought up in the messages.
If I was a weirdo like Chud Logic and I was having this conversation, I would definitely believe that she was at least 23 or whatever. But I don't know. I guess we just have different interpretations. I don't know. Like it doesn't make sense to me that Chud Logic would like announce in the DMs, "Hey, I think it's morally wrong for me to engage with you if you're under this age." And then she's like, "Oh, okay. Anyways, I'm just gonna keep flirting with you," like kind of dodging the question.
She says, to be very clear, she says, "I'm legal, so you won't get in trouble if that's what you're wondering." She said that she's legal, that he won't get in legal trouble. That's what she says in response.
That's probably what she thinks he's most worried about, right?
That's the thing that she's responding to. If there's a miscommunication there, gee, that's something you clear up before at least a month of flirting, don't you think? Maybe.
Oh, sorry,
like I genuinely, I'm like appealing to like the rational instinct in you. You understand why this is her saying that she's like 18, right? She's at least 18.
I don't think that is her saying she's 18. I'm 18 plus.
What do you think? I'm legal, so you won't get in trouble, if that's what you're wondering means.
It means that he won't go to jail if he engages sexually with her.
Oh, okay. That's what that means. Okay, I'm glad we agree. Cool.
Okay. All right. Let me look here. I wanted to ask, do you think that being weird is bad? Do you think being weird is bad?
Do I think being weird is bad? Depends on the context for which you say weird, and the way that I say it, yes. Yes, when I call somebody weird in their sexual shit, right, very specifically, typically I'm referencing something that's morally bad. Here I certainly am referencing something that's morally bad.
Wait, so then how do I discern, when you're saying something's weird, how do I discern whether you're talking about something you think is bad versus something that's just out of the ordinary?
Because whenever the statement or whenever the word weird is used in the context of he's weird as fuck with little girls, typically that means that they're doing something morally wrong, right? Well, yeah, in this context, I'm sure you can discern, and I'll tell you it directly. I think he's doing something morally wrong. I think he's doing something really morally wrong.
You don't say
very morally wrong.
You don't say he's like being weird though. You say he is a weird freak.
Yeah, he's like a weird freak, and when I'm saying he's a weird freak, I'm referencing his messages with somebody who could have just been 18, who we believe to be at least 18.
Yes, but okay, don't like. I'm sure there's other people you would find weird, right? You would call a weird freak, like I don't like a furry or something. I don't know. Like, I'm sure there's or like some conservative that like you would call a weird freak, right? Just for like being like kind of a weirdo.
There's plenty of people I would call a weird freak, right? I wouldn't call them a weird freak and then go on talking about just how bad everything they did is for like 2 hours if I didn't think they did something morally bad.
Like, I think our initial disconnect, because you kept calling him weird. Weird to me doesn't inherently mean bad. It just means out of the ordinary.
So,
and
I guess I'll make it clear.
Agree.
I feel like you watched the podcast appearance that I've had. I think you watched the stream now that I've had from before. Okay. The very clear stance that I have is it's really morally wrong. Almost all of the things that make it wrong for him to fuck around with a 17 and 8-month-old are applied in the situation where he fucks around with somebody who's 18. Right. All of the things which result in that relationship being a bad dynamic for both individuals, not just one of them, but both individuals involved, especially that of the younger party, apply in the second case. Right. The intuition you have about the 17 and 8-month-old being a morally wrong thing to do, like a really morally wrong thing to do, take that intuition, think about why you have it, and then apply it to the 18-year-old case and see how much of it lines up.
Okay. When you're assessing how bad this was, is there, because in our initial conversation, I'll admit I did definitely have to eat a little crow when I was like, oh, if something is especially morally bad, don't you think there should be a punishment with that? And you said, well, not necessarily. You can do something especially bad, like socially, right? So I mean, like do you think it would be like equivalent to something like cheating on a partner? Do you think this would be like an equal amount of bad to something like that?
Do I think it'd be an equal amount of mad to cheating on a partner? It depends on how you cheat on the partner and like the context of which that happens. I think that this is, if you're asking about like this specific instance of like a moral wrong, I think cheating on your partner is really bad. I think cheating on your partner is like a very bad thing to do to somebody. I think that there's like a lot of psychological effects that people kind of like don't like understand if they haven't had the experience or something like that. And it is also contingent on like how well you know the person, how much trust you've put into them, the signs that are shown beforehand, how long the cheating continues, and all of that. But like in your average instance of cheating, I'd say this is probably worse. Yeah.
You think this is okay? Worse than wait. Okay, so you just went. Okay. So in your average instance of cheating, do you think there's a bunch of negative psychological effects and other things like that?
In your average instance of cheating, I think there are a few negative psychological effects in your average instance of cheating. I think that like there are a lot of instances of cheating which probably result in relationships ending very quickly. I think there are a lot of instances of cheating which happen in relationships which are like hardly established. If you mean like a severe instance of cheating, like imagine somebody like cheating on a partner they've been with for a really long time and like being like disconnected from them and all of that. Like yeah, I'd probably say that like prolonged experience is worse than what happened exactly here with Chud Logic, but as far as like the intuitions for or the dispositions that individuals have, the heuristics which they abide by, I think that Chud Logic here is violating some really bad heuristics.
Okay, so like, I guess my main issue is, have you? I realize you were offline for a very long time. Have you seen the Turkey Tom clip where he just basically kind of goes on a rant where he's like, I don't care about cheating. I don't care about cheating. People doing their personal lives. It's none of my business. Da, 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 you know.
Mm-hmm. I've not seen that at all.
You haven't? Okay.
No. I understand what you're relaying to me, I guess.
Yeah. So when I'm assessing this Chud Logic drama, I guess it is. First of all, I kind of just agree with Turkey Tom that cheating is a matter of someone's personal life, and I don't really care if like an internet celebrity I follow online has cheated, just because it's just none of my business, right? And I guess that I would evaluate this Chud Logic system or this Chud Logic controversy on like the same level, right?
Okay, so I would evaluate this Chud Logic controversy on just about the same level I would if you fucked somebody who was like 17 years old. I think it's bizarre that all of a sudden, all of a sudden, we all want to attack Noah Samsen for making fun of him for the allegations against him, this horribly wrong thing that he's done, when everybody else, for anybody else in this community who was just slightly disliked, we would ridicule them endlessly. We would ridicule people endlessly for age gaps which are far lesser, things that are far less morally wrong.
Okay, first of all, Noah Samsen did not just ridicule him. He straight up called him a groomer pedophile. You know that, right?
Yeah, that's some ridicule, and it's just about on point. It's nearly on point.
You seriously think it was justified for Noah Samsen to call him a groomer pedophile?
I think that if people are okay with me calling Cammy a pedophile over and over and over again for his 3-year age gap with an 18-year-old and a 15-year-old, yeah, I think that it's kind of okay for somebody to call Chud Logic a pedophile. I don't think we could all start freaking the fuck out as though they've said something wildly out of left field whenever you have something like this under your belt.
Okay.
I think that if people can go around accusing me falsely of being an opioid addict, I think that very much so somebody could correctly accuse Chud Logic of having fucked around with somebody he certainly shouldn't have been.
Wait,
right?
No,
all the bad things that come to your mind when you think of like a pedophile, those things are in application here.
No, I think it's. I personally haven't seen your coverage of Cammy. I would hope and assume that you call them a pedophile in like a joking way, right? Would that be a good assumption to make?
Yeah, like a slightly joking way. Yeah, like in a way of which I'm saying that he's done something which is like clearly like a wrong thing to be doing, right?
Okay.
And I don't think that anybody else would have an issue with me doing similar things with other content creators who have done similar things to Chud Logic. I think that just because Chud Logic is well integrated in the community, we're all willing to give it a pass. Right? We're all willing to come to his defense immediately.
If Noah Samsen had come on screen and made it an obvious joke he was calling Chud Logic a pedophile, I don't think anyone would have an issue with that. The issue was that he very clearly, it was not clear at all that he was joking, and I think you're giving him an immense amount of charitability.
I don't think that he was, so to be very clear, I don't think that he was joking. Right? I don't think it was like a big joke. It was all like irony. It was all satire or something like that. I think that it was very much so hyperbole, which was made to basically an accurate point. Yeah, I mean, if you would if you think that it's like really, really wrong for Chud Logic to fuck somebody who's like 17 and 8 months old, you should think it's really wrong for him to fuck somebody who's 18 years old. You think that's really wrong too?
Wait, hold. On the 18 and like 17, 8 months point, I think that the willingness to cross a social boundary like that is what makes fucking a 17-year-old.
Which social boundary are you referring to?
That, like, okay. For example, in your initial conversation with Queeman on that stream, you appealed a lot to, like, if a regular person saw this, they would definitely call Chud Logic a weird freak, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, in the same way that you say that, I would say, okay, if you asked a random person if it's okay to fuck a 17-year-old versus an 18-year-old, a regular person will probably be like, it's way worse to fuck a 17-year-old, right?
Depends on where you ask it and depends on the context of which you're asking it. Like, okay, they would say that it's probably worse to fuck a 17-year-old. I'd say it's worse to fuck a 17-year-old. I agree with that. That's not the thing that's in contention, though. The thing that's in contention is, are both of these things similarly morally bad? And if you added in the caveat of like, oh yeah, the person's in their mid-30s, has been through a divorce, and one of these people is a virgin who's never had a sexual relationship before in their life, I think that people would be like, oh yeah, of course that's morally wrong.
Yeah, of course. But let's say there's two alternate realities, okay? One in which Chud Logic had sex with a 17 and 8-month-old, and one in which he had sex with an 18-year-old. And you asked a random person on this, because I feel like there's a lot of leniency in society given once you're 18 wrongfully, okay? Like, you go into a bar, you tell some dude you fucked an 18-year-old, they're like, oh hell yeah, dude, oh hell yeah, da 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 da. But if you go in a bar and tell someone you fucked a 17-year-old, they're potentially going to beat your ass. Okay, so to be clear, if you're 33 years old, I don't think everyone's going to go absolutely hell yeah. I certainly don't think that. And whether everybody does say that or not, it's kind of irrelevant to me. Right? Whenever I'm saying that, I'm making the point that just dismissing the argument as though my conclusion is some absurd shit that doesn't even need a counter argument is just a very online thing to be doing. Because whenever we take a look at take an actual look at like polling data as it concerns to age gaps like this, people do not think it's okay. They don't think it's acceptable.
Right, I
Yes,
just say that
but
the people's moral
most
intuitions
people-
there are off. They're off and they're
No,
wrong,
okay.
and they're defaulting to the law whenever they should be thinking about why the law is in place.
If we're just talking about the U.S., and even if you're talking about states where the consent is like 16 or 17, if you tell someone you fucked a 17-year-old, they're still going to be disgusted with you.
Yeah, and if you fucking Chud Logic so that they fucked an 18-year-old, I think people will be disgusted with him. I think people will be disgusted with him.
to a
The reason I
much
think people will be
less extent,
disgusted with him is because
to a much
all
less
of the data
extent.
that I've seen concerning people's
extent.
intuitions about age gaps in relationships show that people will be disgusted with him. They wouldn't find it acceptable.
To a much less extent, though, because like if you think about it, like 17.
Yeah, I agree to a much lesser extent. I think that that's why you see this large diversion from what I think is the moral truth, the correct stance on this, versus what people are actually responding with. I think that's the only reason people are willing to give Chud Logic a pass. I'm trying to point out that, oh yeah, all the reasons that one of these things is morally wrong apply to the other one.
Then wait, why was it relevant?
Well, almost all. But.
Why was like the common man argument relevant when you were talking about like, oh, any normal person who saw this would think it's fucking weird? Why was that relevant?
Because for some reason,
it's somehow irrelevant now that we're talking about 17 versus 18.
So it's irrelevant to the actual moral facts. I don't think that if everybody agreed on something, it would be morally okay all of a sudden. I don't think that that's how that works. But it's relevant to the case of acting as though what I'm saying is absurd, like Queeman was, acting as though the common person has absolutely no intuition surrounding what I'm saying and I'm off my fucking rocker. Yeah, if you take a look at what the normal people think, normal people don't think that this is acceptable. What you've done, and this entire community has done, is stuck out this position which is against what normal people think, right? Presumably because there's reasons to think it, and whenever you actually look at the reasons why they think this thing differently, they actually don't end up bearing out in reality. They don't be good. They're not good arguments.
Yes, but if okay, this is sort of irrelevant even to Chud Logic, but I just think that if you as an adult are willing to have like, if you're willing to cross that boundary of, especially like sexting and stuff, because someone who's 17 can't even send nudes or whatever, but if you're willing to cross like the social boundary of like 17 versus 18, I think that really does speak to like your character as a person, right?
I do think it speaks to your character as a person a little bit, but like let's think about this for a second. All of the effects on the child, on the victim in this situation, are the same, right?
If they're 18, they're not a child, but I understand.
Were they 18? In like the real world, were they 18? I understand what you're saying, but like that's why I'm saying the child, right? The child in the instance of the 17-year-old and the person who is, I guess, younger, a very, very young adult, barely not a child in the second case, right? All of the things that make it wrong onto them, right? All the things that cause the person to be victimized in the scenario all remain the same. And what you're telling me is, but because he didn't cross another further social boundary, it indicates that he's a less bad of a person than somebody who would. Right, in which case, like, yeah, I'd agree to you. I agree with that with you. I'm not sure what you want me to say. I don't think that that's. I don't think that's a strong defense of Chud Logic.
No,
I think that's my point.
But you're the one who brought it up in the first place, right? You're making the point that it's just as bad to fuck a 17-year-old.
No, I said that. I didn't. I certainly did not say that. At no point did I say that. I clarified earlier in this conversation I did not say that. I will clarify it again. I said almost all of the things which are bad in one of these scenarios apply to the other scenario. Almost all of them, it's nearly just as bad. Right? As far as consequences on the individual who is hurt by the scenario the most, the consequences are the same.
Okay. How do you think then we should like decide, like, do you think the age of consent should be higher or lower? What do you think? Just out of curiosity.
Age of consent, higher or lower? Well, in my personal opinion, the same thing that I said on the podcast that you clipped is there should be a set of Romeo and Juliet laws which span up to somebody being about 25 years old.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. I'm just trying to think. Sorry. I do think like you've obviously said multiple times that you do not think he's a pedophile, but you keep saying things that kind of make you think he's a pedophile. I'm not gonna lie.
So whenever I say I do, so if I keep saying things that make you think that he's a pedophile, you might want to re-examine the things that you think about Chud Logic. Just
no, I said
that on the floor.
That sound like believe he's a pedophile.
Like, I believe he's a pedophile? No, I don't. I don't
Yeah.
believe that he's whenever I use the word pedophile, I use it in a very, very specific context, and I try not to use it as an insult towards people. The reason I try not to use it as an insult towards people is because there very much so are people who are pedophiles and not child molesters. There are people who just have the mental disorder of pedophilia. Whenever we're talking in regards to Chud Logic, I don't think that, like, extends fully outward towards him, but I think that the moral bad things that you think of whenever you're thinking about something like that, a lot of those things just apply to Chud Logic. Right, like the reason I'm using these when you hear that. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go on. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to repeat what you said.
You definitely have used the pedophile as an insult in the past.
Yeah, I have used pedophile as an insult in the past. That's true.
So do you think your comments like toward, I mean, I guess Cammy and Mr. Sen,
So
were
no,
justified?
towards Mr. Sen, it was 1000% justified. I think it was funny as fuck. Like the funniness of that stream certainly outweighs the very small consequence of calling Mr. Sen a pedophile. Nobody who watched that thought I genuinely believed Mr. Sen was a pedophile. But as you're talking like in regards to Cammy, if I were to go back, I probably wouldn't say that about him. I think that this I wouldn't say it about him for different reasons. I think that it was a unnecessarily cruel thing that I did, if that makes sense. I think I did a lot of things which were while I think there's some usefulness in making people feel bad when they do morally bad things, I think that there are certain things that I've done in the past which are just don't see like the human aspect of somebody who does these commits an action that's morally bad.
If you were able to go back in time, would you do the Mr. Sen stream over again the same way?
Absolutely. I look back on that thing and it's a fucking masterpiece. Have you looked back on it?
You just said though you think it's wrong to use pedophile as an insult.
Yeah, broadly speaking, it's wrong. There are certain cases which is okay. I think it's wrong to kill people. I think that killing in self-defense is fine. Right? When I say things morally wrong, I mean the majority of cases of which it happens, it's bad.
So you think doing things that are morally wrong is okay as long as it's
well, no, I don't think it's morally wrong in that case.
Funny?
Well, I don't think it's morally wrong in that case. And yeah, of course, in like certain situations, something being really funny outweighs the very marginal effect of it, right? If I do something that's like, if I do a prank on somebody, which is like slightly at inconvenience to them, but is really funny to them included, then yeah, I mean, it's certainly a lot better. It might be morally wrong for me to do something that just wasn't funny to them in the first place. Like, yeah, of course, sometimes something being funny outweighs the negative consequences of it. Right? In the case of the Mr. Sen stream, I don't think anybody watched that and took away that I thought that he was a pedophile. I think that is what we're referencing is also a stream from like 2 years ago when I was 18 years old.
I'm aware. That's why I asked if you go back and do it again. I'm aware it was from a while ago.
Yeah, I think that the point of calling him a pedophile there, the reason I use the word pedophile specifically, if you're wondering why I wouldn't have used some other term to describe it or something like that, is because calling him a pedophile specifically was the thing that got to him. That's the thing he wanted to debate me on. That's the thing that brought him there in the first place. So I had to do the debate. And I certainly think that the debate was worth a lot more than whatever small marginal effect of somebody hearing the word pedophile used as an insult for the 4 billionth time would be. But as I act myself, I try not to use that term to insult and demean people. And I wouldn't use it in the case of Chud Logic, just because I don't think that Chud Logic is like that. As you said, I don't think that he's crossed that line to the point where it's indicative of his character in that sense. I think that Chud Logic could very well, he very well could be a fine guy in his own personal life in some other regard. I think that he's I don't think that it's as bad as what people would think of whenever they hear the word pedophile. I wouldn't want to label him like that. I'm in the space with the guy. I've talked to the guy before. I don't think that he's out there to do moral wrongs, to help upon everybody or something. There's a lot of things that come into consideration whenever you call somebody a pedophile. I think that whenever you call somebody a pedophile like that, it's just generally morally wrong.
I feel like you're walking, when you say things like, oh, he's weird with little girls, and that, you said during your first stream, I wouldn't directly call him a pedophile, but
yeah, that's my stance. I wouldn't directly call him a pedophile, but the things that you're going to think of as morally wrong whenever you heard the term pedophile, the things that aren't in your mind, to you, yeah, it kind of sounds like I'm indirectly calling him a pedophile. That's my point. The things that come to your mind whenever you hear the word pedophile are different than things that come to my mind when I hear the word pedophile. When I hear the word pedophile, I think about the mental disorder because I've done a fuck ton of research into that. I've done a fuck ton of research into the treatments that exist for things of that nature because it is something that comes up in online discourse fairly often. But whenever you hear me talking about it, whenever you hear the moral wrongs that exist in the situation, you might think that oh yeah, that guy's almost a pedophile.
So wait, if I go on stream and I say a bunch of if I say a bunch of crazy shit about someone, but I don't directly call them a pedophile, and everybody walks away from that stream thinking that he's a pedophile, is
Well,
that
when you
on
say
me or
thinking
the
that he's a
audience?
pedophile, like, what do you mean by that exactly?
I'm like, oh, this guy, he's weird with little girls, and I wouldn't directly call him a pedophile.
Yeah, but like,
And
what do
he's
you
just
mean whenever
like,
like, everybody comes away thinking that he's a pedophile? Because if everybody comes away from my stream, they should come away with the correct facts of the case. And if they come away with the correct facts of the case, then that leads them to think, oh my God, this guy's a fucking pedophile. I think that speaks to what he's done.
no, but you're saying things like, oh, he's weird with little girls, and oh, I wouldn't directly call him a pedophile. That you're implying something about him, and then the audience leaves the stream thinking that you believe is a pedophile. Isn't that sort of a failing on how you're communicating what you actually think?
Thinking that I believe that he's a pedophile, and when you say thinking I believe that he's a pedophile, you mean something along the lines of he's really weird with girls that are far too young for him to be fucking around with, then yeah, that is what I believe. That's not a failure to communicate on my part. It's just an issue with how I use the word pedophile, I guess, in relation to how you use it.
Wait,
I wouldn't directly call him a pedophile because I think it's wrong to call somebody a pedophile as an insult. I think that that's bad. I think there are people who are diagnosed who are pedophiles who get lumped in with that who haven't done anything.
Wait. Wouldn't you not call him a pedophile because you don't think he's a pedophile?
Well, yeah, I don't think he's a pedophile. The reason I wouldn't insult him as a pedophile is different, right? I might think that, like, for example, if I might think that, like, somebody like Zero is not a pedophile technically, right? I don't think he's like a little diagnosed with the disorder or something like that, if that's what you mean. Right, but there might be other reasons, other things to consider. I think that there are other things to consider other than the fact that, like, whether somebody actually has, like, the diagnosis criteria for pedophilia or something like that.
Okay, but nobody thinks like that. Like, do you know what I mean?
Well,
Nobody thinks
yeah,
that.
you don't think like that. That's fine. But, like, whenever you watch my stream, you get away from the facts of the case. And when you get away from the facts of the case, then you know that... Ooh, sorry.
Majority of people, when you're saying things like this, don't think that, oh, he's not calling him a pedophile because he doesn't technically fit this definition.
No. I think the problem that you're running into is the idea, the concept that comes to people's minds when they think of pedophile, like the idea of the moral wrong, the moral wrong that's being committed there, right? That idea is something that people are going to come to mind whenever I say the things that Chud Logic did, and I say the issues with it, right? That word's going to come to mind, but I will not directly call him a pedophile. That's what I said. And whenever you take a look at the stream and you take a look at the things that I said, I don't think I said anything that's inaccurate.
You're not just saying the facts, though. You're saying, like, oh, he's weird around little girls. Right?
Well, yeah, that's a fact of the case.
Yes, but it's also omitting so much of the...
Okay, so I am just saying the fact, like, that's one of the facts of the case. I didn't omit anything. Listen to me talk about it. I talk about the exact age that he thought the individual was. He thought they were at least 18. And I go down, why fucking around with somebody who's 18 years old at 33 is fucking morally wrong.
Well, yes, but you repeat in the stream over and over and over again, it's morally wrong when he is super fucked up. He's like a super fucked up weirdo.
Absolutely. Yes. I agree with all of that.
But then you're like, oh, he's not a pedophile, but he's weird around little girls, and I wouldn't directly call him a pedophile, but, you know, like, people are hearing all this, and they think you're calling him a pedophile.
If I say he's not a pedophile and people hear that alongside all the things that he's done and me describing it as weird as fuck, which you agree is a fact of the case, he's weird as fuck with little girls. If you hear all the facts of the case alongside me saying I'm not calling him a pedophile and they think that he's a pedophile, I think that we need to examine what the fuck Chud Logic did.
Well, I don't think that little girls is a fact of the case either. Calling someone who's 17 a little girl is, I don't know.
Like, well, no, like even an 18-year-old, like certainly no, it certainly is fine as a fine use of the term. Little girl is relative. It's a relative term.
Yes, but literally
okay, so relative to Chud Logic, that person is a little girl.
What? Sorry.
Relative to Chud Logic, that person's a little girl.
Yes, but if you asked literally anybody, nobody on earth would say 17 is a little girl.
Yeah, without any relational context, yeah. But if you asked a bunch of like 50-year-olds if 17 was like would they describe a 17-year-old as a little girl or something? Like, of course, yeah.
No, if
Right, like you wouldn't
came
say that somebody was wrong for like if they were 50 years old for calling a 17-year-old a little
if
girl.
you came up to
Hell,
random
there are
50-year-olds
people
and you
who
just
call
said,
19-year-olds, 20-year-olds little girls.
I
'Cause
know,
it's
I know.
relational, right? And the
I know,
reason
but-
why it could be used in this context is because Chud Logic is fucking 15 years old in this individual. Chud Logic's gone through a divorce. This motherfucker has not even had a sexual relationship yet.
Even if you go up to a 50-year-old and you ask them, hey, what age is a little girl? They might say like, oh, little girl endearingly to like other people or whatever. But like they don't
Even like
legitimately believe
derogatorily.
that 17 is
People
a
would call
little
me
girl.
like a little boy whenever I was 18. Of course
Yes,
people
but-
use the term like that.
Yes, but
And
in
I
an
don't think that it's
endearing
wrong here. I don't think that it leads you to believe anything that's wrong. I use
No,
it in the
when people-
context of making sure that people know exactly how old they are. Whenever I use that term, I'm using it to invoke, oh yeah, this is a little girl to Chud Logic. They might be 18 years old, but that's a little girl to somebody who's 33.
I assume when people call you a little boy though, they're either meaning that in like a demeaning or endearing context, depending on who's saying it, right? They don't actually believe that you're a little boy.
They don't actually believe that. I mean, like, it's like dependent on the context. Depending on the context which you use the word. All words are like a little bit contextual.
Name one context where somebody would unironically believe that you're a little boy.
I mean, yeah, it's like, so if somebody was saying like you don't have that experience, right? You're like a child right now.
Yeah,
You're a child. I don't want to listen to you about this like specific subject matter. Like, yeah,
They're
they'd say
saying
that
that
because they
you're-
genuinely believe it. They genuinely believe that statement is true. They're not saying a statement they believe to be false.
No, they're saying that to communicate that you don't have the necessary knowledge or like you're just inexperienced. You're not as old. That's why they call you a little boy. When-
And whenever I'm
nobody-
saying little girl, I'm using it to communicate that this person does not have the knowledge, does not have the experience by relation to Chud Logic.
Yes, but when
There you
older
go.
people say that, they're not making like they're not on a YouTube video talking about this guy's sexual relationship, right? They're saying it to like be endearing. They're communicating.
So to be clear, if the issues you have, I just want to make sure this is like clear in like the meta conversation context. Like you understand if the issues you have with me saying something like little girl is not that it's inaccurate or something like that, right? It's not like it's like wrong, but it rather invokes something in people's minds which might be false. From watching the clips, like watching the content that actually exists surrounding it, that I describe the facts of the case. That somebody's not going to go away thinking that that person is any younger than Chud Logic thought they were. Right?
Yes,
Whenever
but-
I invoke that term because it feels morally wrong, and it should feel morally wrong because it is morally wrong.
Yes, you're implying things about someone by using charged language.
I'm implying correct things about them.
That's not no, because
What
when most
false
people
thing
hear
am I
that, they
implying about
call
Chud
him a
Logic?
pedophile. When most people hear that, they think you're calling him a pedophile.
They think that I'm calling him a pedophile whenever I describe the facts of the case and then say he's weird as fuck with little girls.
Yes, when you say someone is weird with little girls, you are
If you
basically
hear
calling
the facts of the case and you hear me say little girls in that context, you understand that I'm saying it in reference to a relationship which happens with somebody who we thought was 18.
like if I
Like
if
you
I'm
have
being
to
honest-
understand that to some degree, right?
Yes,
Like I
if
don't
I'm
believe
being
that
honest-
I don't believe that you don't have the capacity to understand that. I think that you came into the conversation with the understanding that that's not what I meant. I think that broadly speaking, people who watch that don't think that that's what I meant. I think they think that I'm saying something similar to he is just about doing the moral wrong of the pedophile. You're right. You fine calling him a pedophile if he fucked a 17-year-old, but now that there's like 18 years old, there's this like very short period of time that's passed. There's very little cognitive development. There's very little social development that's existed. Now all of a sudden, this feels like a wild term that comes out of absolutely nowhere that we all have to dogpile on Noah Samson for, without taking a single second to examine what the fuck Chud Logic did to get that term applied to in the first place.
I don't understand why you're focusing on Noah Samson. He is objectively wrong.
Because that's what brought it up. We're all like, sorry, I say we're, right? A lot of the commentary community is super cool with Chud Logic, and we're willing to come to his defense like a motherfucker without a single examination of what the fuck Chud Logic did. Whenever we're talking about Noah Samson, he even went on record to correct himself. Right? He was nice enough to correct himself to say something along the lines of, oh, no, he's not a pedophile, right? He's just about a pedophile. I don't understand why all of a sudden we're gonna act like it's some fucking wild claim out of nowhere, right? You'd be fine with them calling the term pedophile being applied if the person was 17, right? They're 17 in the real world. It turns out they thought they were 18, right? That's fine. We're not gonna. I don't see why we can act like it's some wild claim. That seems strange to me. It seems strange to me to be so critical of Noah Samsen that we're mailing to say that this is a wild claim out of absolutely the fuck nowhere. What the fuck are you doing? And then whenever it comes to Chud Logic, we're willing to extend so much charitability.
Because no,
to the point where he's basically done nothing wrong. To call it out is insane. To say that we shouldn't associate with the guy is insane.
Literally nobody would call the interaction Chud Logic had like grooming or pedophilia, and it's egregious that he would even say that in the first place in a serious manner. That's why everybody was hating on Noah Samsen. If Noah
You think
Samsen
that it
released a
is
video
ridiculous to
Logic,
call it?
nobody would care.
You think it's ridiculous to say Chud Logic is a pedophile? It's like a crazy statement?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
genuinely.
would you think it's a crazy statement to call Chud Logic a pedophile if he fucked a 17, 8-month-year-old?
No.
No, you don't think it would be a crazy statement? So
because
what's the big moral
no.
difference between these two?
No, because it speaks to his character if he was fucking 17 and 8-month-olds.
Yeah, it speaks to his character a little bit. I think the thing that's wrong about pedophilia is not how it speaks to your character. I think it's the effects on the fucking victim. I think that's the very, very, very big wrong thing about pedophilia.
Yes, but it shows...
Not about
if
the
he did
other
that,
things
it
that are
would
indicative about the person.
It would speak to his character and show a willingness to, like... it would show a willingness to break, like, social norms and stuff like that.
Well, I mean,
Like,
him engaging with this
there-
person is showing a willingness to break social norms. Right, a lot of social norms.
Yes, but to a much less degree than if he
To
was
a
fucking-
much less degree? I don't think it's to a much
Right.
less degree.
Much less degree, yes. If you have...
What
like-
makes you say it's to a much less degree?
Because fucking someone who is 18, anyone would say, okay, that's really weird, but it's not illegal, so not whatever.
If you fuck somebody who was 17, they'd be like, that's really weird, but it's not illegal.
No, they'd be like, that's a child in high school. That's what they would say.
That's... You do realize an 18-year-old can be in high school?
Oh, well, yes, but
Okay.
most 18-year-olds
There you
are
go.
moved out once they're finished with high school. Yes.
That's certainly not true. That is absolutely the fuck not true. You think most 17-year-olds are moved out when they graduated high school?
Well, okay. I moved out when I was 18 to go to college, but I don't know what
Yeah,
the
you
statistics
personally
specifically
might
about
have. That's fine.
that.
I don't think
I don't know
broadly
what-
speaking that's the case. I think that there are a lot of 18-year-olds who are still in high school. I think that most people are expected to be 18 years old when they're in high school. But that's your senior year.
Yes,
That's
I know.
that's what most seniors are. Most seniors are 18.
Once and you know what? It's an arbitrary line, but once you're 18, you do gain a lot more freedom. With like you can once you're 18, you can post nude pictures of yourself online, which is that's gross, but that's just a reality of our world, right?
Yeah, you can. I'm not sure. Like, there's what's the big distinction going on here? Like, people would say that it's like bad for somebody who's 18 years old to post like things that are sexually explicit of them online.
Yes,
Most people would say
I'm-
that's bad.
Yes, I'm aware, but
Okay,
you have-
so there you go. Like, there's like if what you're saying is along the lines of like, oh, because they can post things of themselves online, there's like a social boundary there. Like, sure, I get there's a social boundary in that sense. I don't think that the moral wrong here is the crossing the social boundary. I don't think that's what people mean when they call people a pedophile. I don't think they mean like the crossing of a social boundary. I think that there could be there certainly are countries where people the social boundary is set far lower, and you'd be fine with calling people a pedophile in those.
yeah. Well, I know, but
I don't think the
West-
crossing the
we're in
social
the
boundary
West,
is what
so
makes the thing like.
nothing from other countries even fucking matters. We're talking about the West, okay?
Okay, so in the West specifically, I don't think that. So maybe we're just talking past each other. Okay, so level with me for a second. Let's do real shit. Noah Samsen, right, calls Chud Logic a pedophile. You can think that that's wrong. Is it an incorrect thing to say? Right, that's fine, right? Do you think it's a wildly incorrect thing to say?
Yes. There's
Okay,
no.
the difference between what actually happened and what you're okay with calling pedophilia is 4 months within the individual. Whenever we take a look at the individual's cognition, do you think that a lot changes between those 4 months?
No, but that's a line
No,
we've drawn.
right? Yeah,
That's
so
an arbitrary line
the
you've drawn
only
in-
reason you are thinking that it's some crazy shit to call it is because of an arbitrary line, an unjustified like line. One that is not justified by some actual like difference
I
between
don't
them.
think we set
There's
the age
this.
of consent at 18 for an unjustified reason.
What do you think arbitrary means? What do you mean by arbitrary? I guess.
Well, arbitrary is just like it doesn't really like. I guess arbitrary is probably the wrong word for me to use, but like it's just like we allow people at 18 to do things that we probably shouldn't, but that's just the result of like it's just how it is, right?
Yeah,
And 18-year-olds
sure.
are gonna do dumb shit.
Sure, and you can have all the criticism in the world of Noah Sampson. You can think like, hey, that's something you shouldn't say. Like that's probably say like, hey, it's probably something you shouldn't say. But whenever he brings that up, and we're so quick to go gun-ho on Noah Sampson over what seems to be like a very minor difference in ethics between these two things. The only thing that's like really indicated is like there's some social boundary there that's being crossed, and like there's some indication of the person who crosses that line, right? There's an indication of their moral character. Like whenever we're willing to go and be so critical of Noah Sampson over something like that, whenever it's to our minds that we're talking about the Chud Logic allegations and we bring them up, I think that we should take a second and think, holy shit, no, that's actually really morally wrong, right? And we've kind of gotten to the point where I think that you agree it's really morally wrong. It's like a bad thing to be doing. You don't think it's a really morally wrong thing to be doing?
I think it's like equivalent to like cheating or something. It's like a weird.
You think it's equivalent to like cheating or something? So
Yeah.
So
Doing something like
and
out of the
fucking a
ordinary.
17-year-old is like a wildly morally wrong thing to do, right? Like that's some big shit.
Yes. Yes, because
Okay, but the cognitive differences between these are incredibly small in this case, right? There's a far larger cognitive difference between Chud Logic and the individual in question. So whenever you're talking about what makes pedophilia like really wrong, are you talking about like how it might indicate other things that might be bad about the person? Because normally whenever I'm talking about pedophilia is morally wrong, I'm talking about its effect on the fucking victim. If I were to be asked why is it wrong to fuck a kid, the kid is the first thing that comes to mind.
Well, okay. I guess when I'm assessing this, I'm like, why are we okay? When I look at drama, I'm like, why are we calling this person out? And like, what, I guess, potential danger do they serve in the future, right? Because what other reason is there to call someone out?
Yeah, and from my perspective, Chud Logic kind of shows himself to be somebody who's pretty reckless.
Yeah.
Right?
Why?
And why? Because he doesn't even know the fucking age of this person. Like, I mean, look at what came out. Look at what we've been talking about this entire time.
I guess he hasn't engaged in that, like, well, no. That's sorry. That was a bad thought. Ignore that. But, yeah. I guess it's like, yeah, I think his, like he said in those messages, he thinks it's inappropriate to engage with anyone significantly younger than him. And then, I guess, yeah, you could just say it's reckless. I don't know about wildly reckless. That seems like I
think it's pretty wildly reckless. I think it's pretty wildly reckless to be engaging with somebody. I mean, to be honest with you, whenever it comes out that somebody you're sexting is 17 years old and you don't even know the age of the person beforehand, you have like some vague idea they might be 18 years old and you know that it's morally wrong to fuck somebody who's 18 years old, I think you're engaging in a wildly reckless action.
What if she had
That's like
said
a very reckless action.
What if she had said she was 23 plus then?
If she said she was 23 plus, I think it would be like a lot less wildly reckless. It'd be wildly less reckless.
But you just said if you don't know the age and they just gave you a vague idea, then it's wildly reckless.
if you don't know the age and part of your not knowingness is a set of ages which are people you should not be fucking around with, like, yeah, there you go. Right? In that set of ages, there's nothing that you shouldn't be fucking around with. If you knew that somebody was older than you and you didn't know their age, presumably you don't think that I would have an issue with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, there you go. That's what I'm saying.
I don't. It just seems like you're walking. Like, I don't know.
I don't think I've walked anything back. I've defended every single thing that I said.
I was gonna say walking right up to the line. Sorry, I was gonna say not walking back. Like,
Walking right up to the line. I mean, like
walking right up to the line of like calling him a pedophile.
I mean, yeah. What I'm saying is a very strong condemnation. It's just about calling him a pedophile. Sure.
And then
like if what you mean by pedophile, if it's like what is the thing that comes to mind, like that you would totally call somebody a pedophile if they fuck somebody who was 17 and 8 months old versus fucking somebody who's 18 years old. Like, yeah, I think that most of the moral wrong there is still maintained. Right? The moral wrong towards the person who was younger in the relationship is still maintained. And that's why I'm okay with walking right up to that line. He walked right up to the line of being a pedophile.
Okay. No. But,
you don't think so? You don't think he was real close?
No, I do not. I do not. It's like you're saying you're clarifying, like it's like if you made like a video and you said I don't think he's a pedophile, and then you say all these things that leads the audience to believe you think he's a pedophile. You're kind of
if I describe the facts of the matter and what make them morally wrong, and that makes people think I believe that he's a pedophile, I think we need to look at the facts of the matter and what makes it morally wrong. That's what I think is really relevant there.
I'm sure you were around for like Def Noodles, right?
Yeah, I was around for Def Noodles. Yeah.
So like Def Noodles' whole thing
Rise
is like,
and fall.
I'm joking, but I'm joking, but
well, the problem with Def Noodles, the problem everybody took with Def Noodles is that he would say that it's satire when he got a story wrong, when he was just incorrect about a story. Everything that I've said is correct.
Well, no,
I stand by everything that I've said.
That's not the only issue, though. He would say, "Oh, I'm actually just joking about everything I talk about, except like, God, I'm trying to think of an example, but I can't." He would say like, "Oh, I'm joking when I make these tweets calling people pedophiles, and it's satire." But literally, everybody took it seriously, right? You're using like hyperbole and like loaded language to such an extent.
I don't think I'm using any What hyperbole have I used?
Little girls.
You think that's hyperbolic? No, I think that's true. I think it's the little girl in relation to him.
You cannot, in good conscience, call a 17-year-old a little girl. Like, be so.
Yeah,
like,
if I was 33, I would probably call a 17-year-old a little girl.
Ever say, no matter what age context, nobody unironically believes that a 17-year-old is a little girl.
Women live a really long time. Like, relation to your lifespan, that's pretty fucking young. Right, presumably you're not talking about like the context of like somebody's lifespan. We're talking in the context of what it relates to other things, right? That it relates to the other ages of the people involved, right? Like I wouldn't call somebody, I wouldn't call like if somebody was like my age when I was 15, I wouldn't call them a little boy, right? Like I wouldn't call them that. I wouldn't call them that because we're the same age.
People think of a prepubescent girl. That's what they think.
People think of a prepubescent girl. No, I'm not like walking right up to the line. Nobody who listened to me thinks that Chud Logic fucked a prepubescent girl, right? People believed when the Def Noodles tweets that people believed when Def Noodles made the tweets that it was the case that Def Noodles was calling them a pedophile and they were a pedophile, right? Nobody believes that it's the case that Chud Logic fucked a prepubescent girl. I make it very clear the facts of the case.
It's hyperbolized language to imply things about someone. You're saying it like...
I don't think it's hyperbolized. I guess we can disagree on that, but...
No, we can't disagree. It's like, seriously,
it's
ridiculous that you would
hyperbolized
say
language.
Little girl. It's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous? I think that if Chud Logic fucked a 17-year-old, would you have an issue with me saying fucked a little girl?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have an issue with me saying 16 is a little girl?
Yes.
Okay, so you'd have a problem with me saying Lion Miker fucked a little girl? You think that's wrong? You think that I'd be like fucking up the story by saying that? If I had all the facts of the matter correct? You think that would that'd be some crazy shit that you think is more worth criticizing than all of what Chud Logic did?
If you said Lion Maker fucked a little girl, that would be an incorrect statement. Yeah, it would be an incorrect statement about the story.
Do you think that if it was... So I think we'll just disagree on that one. I think it's fine to say Lion Maker fucked a little girl. I don't think that's hyperbolic.
If you said that about Lion Maker,
if it's the case that... Just a second. Can you not... Sorry, I tried to let you finish your sentences. Can I just get like one out? I think that if you think that that's worth criticizing in my coverage, I think that you have a lot to criticize Chud Logic for that you're not willing to. I think that what Chud Logic did is leagues worse than me saying little girl to refer to somebody who's a little girl to him.
Well, I'm not talking about Chud Logic right now. I'm talking about you getting the facts, like you hyperbolizing to
Well,
such a
yeah,
degree that
what
you're
have you said
implying
about Chud
stuff.
Logic? Have you ever criticized Chud Logic for this? Once?
No,
Have you ever thought it was weird that people were engaging with him? You were talking about how you just like kind of didn't care. You said that you kind of didn't care unless somebody did something illegal or really morally wrong, right? But it seems like you kind of do care about something as minuscule as this. I feel like you should really care about Chud Logic engaging like this with somebody who's that young.
I think it's wrong to lie about someone on a public platform. Or
I don't think I lied about him. I think that it was
not
very
lie.
clear. I don't think anything I said led people to believe something that was false.
Imply incorrect things about someone on a public
I don't
platform.
think I implied anything that was incorrect about him. I think that if you watch my content, the only way you could get away from what I said, something incorrect, is if you clipped it out of context. What I made was a full piece of content. It was a full piece of work. And whenever you look at that, nobody's going to take away something that's incorrect from it. They might think that, you think that it's really morally wrong what Chud Logic did, in which case that's correct. That is what I
You
believe.
repeated the little girl line multiple times, and you also said things like, "Oh, I went direct to call him a pedophile." These are things that are implying things about someone.
I think that they imply things that are true about Chud Logic in context. I think that if you listen to what I said, I think that you get away from the facts of the matter. I think that trying to like quote out specific things outside their context of which they exist, where I'm very much so going over the facts of the case and I'm going over the facts of the case correctly, is a misinterpretation of what the implication of what I said is.
Okay, if you know the basic facts around Call Me Carson, right?
Yeah, I know the facts around Call Me Carson, yeah.
So if I made a video and I said, Call Me Carson isn't a pedophile, but man, he sure does love to be weird with little girls, like...
I'd say that's wrong. I don't think that he was being weird with that individual. I think that 19 and 17 is certainly not outside of the brackets of social acceptability. I think that bears out in the data that I've looked at so far. And I think that, again, whenever I say somebody is a little girl, I'm referring to it relationally to the other person, right? Whenever I'm talking about it in that context, somebody who's 19, a 17-year-old is like a little girl to them. That's somebody who's very much so a peer, probably in your friend group or something like that. Whenever you're Chud Logic, those people just aren't in your friend group. I'm sorry.
That's fucking retarded.
You think that's retarded? I think that's consistent with everything else that I've said here.
Using little girl as a proportional statement is not true.
Well, it's relational, yeah. That's how other people use it. People would say it's wrong to say somebody's a little girl or a little boy if it was the case that like, oh, yeah?
They say that to imply something about someone else. They say, oh, you're...
Yeah, that they're like inexperienced, that they have like less experience by relation to... Yeah, that's what I mean here. I'm using it like that.
It doesn't make any sense to call a 17-year-old a little girl.
I think that it does. I think that some people do, and I think that here, in the context of me going over all the facts of the case, I think it's fine.
Then why do you have to say that? Because nobody understands this like weird web of logic you've constructed around calling her a little girl. They just hear you implying he's a pedophile. Like nobody.
Do you think that nobody understands why I would call them a little girl in relation to Chud Logic?
Yes, I don't think.
When you say nobody understands, are you talking about like who are you talking about?
Any normal person. I don't.
No, I think normal people totally understand what I mean there. I think they 100% understand what I mean there. I think that like normal people find what Chud Logic's doing totally unacceptable. I think that any other community other than like politics and the commentary community would have burned him at the fucking stake. They would not be okay with associating with someone like that.
It's just I
think that like a lot of people might like look at my content and not understand it because they're like really upset. They're really upset about the conclusion of it. I think that oftentimes happens. I think that happens with a lot of arguments that are made online. I think there's very little you can do about that. I think that like pointing out cognitive dissonance in somebody is like a very it's an upsetting experience. And so oftentimes people will try and like link themselves out of the argument. They'll like intentionally not track it. I think that like a lot of people have very intentionally not tracked the things that I've said.
Instead of like okay, so you have all this hidden, like when you say little girl, you mean all this other stuff actually, and
I just mean the same thing that people mean whenever they call me like a child. Like, I mean the exact same thing.
So nobody listening
I mean,
would
they call me a
understand
child
that.
at 18 years old.
So
like,
why
I
don't
think
you
they
just
would
say-
understand.
Why
I
don't
think
you
that
just
most people would.
why
but-
don't like why don't you just say, oh, and she's relatively inexperienced in comparison to Chud Logic or something like that? Why do you
because
feel
that
the need-
because relatively inexperienced by comparison to Chud Logic does not invoke the moral wrong feeling which should be invoked here. This should invoke a very moral wrong feeling. Right. What might be like something similar is a very, very long phrase along the lines of something like Chud Logic is fucking around with people who are virgins who he believes have never had intercourse before and fetishizing it, while Chud Logic has had a kid and has been divorced already at 33 years old with his entire life established whenever they are already a fan within his Discord server and that power dynamic already exists. Maybe something along those lines would be what I have to say, but that's kind of a mouthful.
So you're doing the exact same thing that I'm saying you're doing, though. You're using charged language to, imply.
Those are the facts of the case. Those are the facts of the case. Those are all things that are clearly true.
Not a fact that he was weird with a little girl.
No, the things that I just said, the things that you just called charged language, which were not like true things
No.
like those are all true things, right? All the shit that I said there was true. Okay, yes. that invokes a similar moral wrong feeling. I don't think it invokes it entirely. I don't think it invokes it entirely because I think a lot of people are very, very quick to kind of dismiss something like this, but not really think about the ethics that exist underneath the social boundaries which we put in place. But I don't think it's the case. I'm sorry, go on.
So then, if you're saying these things and they shouldn't the facts of the case already invoke a wrong moral feeling? Why do you need to feel?
I think they do.
Need to attach all this other? Yes, but then
because it's a lot shorter than saying what I just said. I think that it's a lot shorter and it's much more to the point. I think that people have a hard time following long sentences. I think people have a hard time following arguments as it is. And I think that it's certainly useful to invoke language like that whenever we're talking about somebody who's done something like this.
I agree. It's useful to use like hyperbolized language and stuff, but nobody is literally everybody, when they hear you say he's weird around little girls, they just think you're calling him a pedophile.
I don't think that they think that whenever it's in the context of what I've said concerning the case. I think whenever it's considered within the context of me going over all the facts of the case and saying that he believed them to be 18 years old, I don't think that means that he's a pedophile. Unless you think that means that he's a pedophile in that context.
I mean, it's just you repeated it over and over and over. That's what people come away with thinking when you say supercharged shit like that.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't think that. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, go on.
And then you're trying to say, oh, I was using this hyperbolized language to convey the fact of how inexperienced and how much younger she was. Why not just say the ages? That would.
I did just say the ages. I said them earlier.
But when you're making the point, why not just say, hey, why not just say the ages? That's a very succinct way to say it, and it would invoke the correct moral feeling in whoever is watching.
Why not just say the ages? Because I think there's more at play here than just the ages of the individuals. I think that all the things that are at play that make me use that type of language are the things that I said earlier in the long sentence.
All that you're conveying,
the long sentence which involved him fetishizing the fact that they had no sexual relationships in the past.
Wait, okay.
While he is divorced with a kid at 33 years old with a career established, talking to a fan.
I know. I'm aware. But
those are the things that are all the relevant facts of the case, which make me say that something like that. And I think that's true in virtue of the relational properties between the two.
Okay, what is different about saying, from your perspective, what is different about saying he's weird with little girls from saying he was weird with an 18-year-old, with someone who he believed to be 18 at 33?
Because there are a lot of other things that are at play here, which is, again, in the long sentence that I just gave, which involved all of the other factors, which I just brought up again.
Yes, but you don't convey any of those factors when you say he was.
No, I think that you do. I think you convey the large lack of experience between the two. I think you can convey the large power dynamic between the two. I think that in the it might be wrong to say. I would probably say it is wrong to say completely out of context, but in the context of which I invoked it, it is with the facts of the case in mind. And with the facts of the case in mind, I don't think that any reasonable person listens to me say that and thinks, wow, that guy is like really wrong. They think, wow, what the fuck is this Chud Logic guy doing?
How is saying 18 and 33 not convey the power dynamic in any?
Because there's far more power dynamics at play here, right? There's that between somebody who is a virgin and somebody who has not only had sexual relations in the past, but has had a kid in a marriage and is divorced.
I know, but you're not conveying the
right,
fact
like you've
that
gone
he's a
through an
virgin or
entire marriage.
Even when you say he was weird with a little girl, you're not conveying the fact that he's married, that she's a virgin. You're not conveying any of that.
Well, no, I think that those are all things that kind of invoke the terms that I just used there, invoke that power dynamic very, very well. If you personally think that, like, hey, no, I think that invokes. So whenever I say that somebody is weird with a little girl, right, you think that in the context, because remember, there's a context to which I said that, and the context to which I said that is going over the facts of the case. Okay, so in the context of going over the facts of the case, do you think that anybody came out of that with some impression of something that's false?
In the context of the case, don't you think that saying 18 and 33 would have been enough?
Can you just answer my question? Because I already answered that one.
Say it again. Sorry.
Okay. In the context of which I made that statement, do you think that anybody came away with something that is false? Some interpretation of the facts of the case which were incorrect? Some false belief?
I believe that people came away thinking that you thought he was a pedophile. Yes.
I think that whenever I explicitly say that he's not a pedophile, I think that that's a very strange interpretation to take.
You can say, okay, you can say...
I think that I am somebody who is very willing to say things that people will disagree with. I think that if I thought that he was a pedophile, I very much so would have said, this guy's a fucking pedophile.
Do you not think you can make statements and then immediately contradict them later by implying something about someone?
Do I think...
Yes.
Do I think that you can make statements and contradict them later by implying something about somebody? It depends on what you mean by, like, implication, I guess. If you take it to be like it's sort of implied from the language that you're using, no, I don't think you're contradicting it. I think that's clarification as to what you think. Right? If I were to say something along the lines of like, this person's not an asshole, but here's some bad thing that they've done. Right? I might imply that they're an asshole, right? If that's all you knew about them, you think they're an asshole. But I don't think that it's the case that you contradicted yourself by saying that. I think using a contradiction. But I don't know. It depends on, like, if I'm not even sure. I'm not sure how you would watch the content that I've made and think that I called him a pedophile.
Nobody thinks you called him a pedophile, but you're implying it.
Okay, so nobody thinks that I called him a pedophile. And so what's the false thing they've come away with?
No, okay, what I mean is you didn't. Nobody comes away thinking you explicitly called him one, but you're heavily implying it.
But people think I'm heavily implying it when I explicitly state that he's not beforehand?
Yes,
do you think that I'm heavily implying that somebody's an asshole if I say this person's not an asshole, but here's a bunch of like really dickish things they've done to me?
If I made like a video essay, let's say, on Call Me Carson, and at the very beginning I said, I don't think he's a pedophile, guys, but, and then I just go on a whole like 50-minute diatribe about like he was really weird with this little girl, and you know he's like, you gotta think about the power dynamics, and you gotta think about like how, like, you know what I mean?
I think this is a very uncharitable interpretation of my words by comparison to what you gave Chud Logic.
It's an extreme example. I'm just trying to see, like, it's an extreme example. Obviously, what you did was to a much lesser degree, but do you agree that is something that would be
the
wrong?
Statement that I made, do you know how many times I even said that he was weird with little girls? Do you even remember?
2 or 3.
2 or 3? Okay. I know that I've said more than 2 or 3 times that he's not a pedophile.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, I know.
Okay.
But
so if I've said,
like I said, it's not
if I've said the
girl.
clarification more than I've said the thing you think implies the thing which is clarified it to not be, then I'm unsure how you think that I imply that they were a pedophile. right? Like it just like doesn't seem to be the case to
Because
me.
that's
I
not
think that
the
if you
only-
take a look at the content that I've made, and I think if you genuinely are trying to like listen to my words and you're trying to take away like what is meant by them rather than what is like the least charitable way I could critique this, I think that you very much so come away with a fact of the matter. Like there's a bunch of true things about the situation. I think I'm away with a bunch of true things that I think. I don't believe it's the case that I've said
But-
something that's that implies something false.
But you, but you, it's not just the little girl thing. You said other things such as I wouldn't directly call him a pedophile. I wouldn't, like
That was certainly in a joking context.
it, like kind of like people laughed
Yeah.
after you said it.
Yeah,
but-
like people laughed after I said it because it's like it's supposed to be like a funny thing to say. Like I wouldn't directly call him a pedophile, but like look at all the fucking weird shit he's done. Look at this fucking insane
yeah,
weird
exactly,
shit he's done.
exactly. But look at all the weird shit he's done. Like I would, like, I guess.
And you think that's like an absurd thing
you
to have
agree-
happen?
You do agree that in
Like
this,
you said that these like arguments were like trash, like absolute trash and dog shit, and like the only thing you've seemed to actually like take issue with that I've said is like this strange, like this very specific point of, well, you know, maybe if somebody like listens to it, they might come away with thinking that you think that he's a pedophile even after you've clarified that you don't think that he's a pedophile.
Yes, that's why the argument is bad because
That's why the argument is
They're
bad.
not effectively
So you don't? Do you have any issue with the actual like premises of the argument, or do you just have a problem with this like one statement? Because you said
What do
all
you-
the
what-
arguments I made there were like trash and like certainly deserve some crazy pushback. But like I'm not really like feeling the crazy pushback. It feels like we agree on a lot. Like the stance that I have is not like super far off from yours. Maybe you're less willing to like go out and call out Chud Logic. Like, I'll give you the
honestly, I
benefit of the
don't-
doubt. Say like you think that it's morally bad. You think it's pretty morally bad.
Honestly-
You think it's morally bad for like the reasons why it any relationship like this is like primarily morally bad. The effects on the victim.
Well, honestly, I'm giving you
like,
a lot of credibility.
you might not
by
be-
saying I don't think that you think Chud Logic is a pedophile. Like, because it really sounds like you do.
It really sounds like I do. Well,
Yes,
what? So you still think it's the case? That
that's why.
what
that's
what
why
could
the
I
argument
tell
is
you?
bad.
What could I say to convince you that like because the argument that's not an argument that I made. That's not an argument. An argument is a set of premises which justify a conclusion.
Yes,
Right.
my
The
whole
set of
point is
premises
that-
which I've used to
that
justify a
basically-
conclusion are
My whole point is that
they seem unattacked here. They seem
applied it over and over and over again.
yeah. So they seem completely unattacked here. All the things that are the actual argument, right? Do you think that me saying that he's fucking weird with little girls is an argument?
No, but
Okay.
it's like a.
Do you think it's a?
something
do you think-
implied.
I'm sorry. One more time.
It's you imply. Yeah, it kind of is an argument. in a
So,
way.
or
Like,
do you personally like? I guess I'm just asking because I'm trying to get some like gauge. Do you personally think that it's weird that you're willing to throw out the entire argument and call it all trash because of this one statement?
I don't think I might have. I don't think I called all your arguments trash. I
You
like
said
I
the
said
argument was
before,
completely trash. I can pull up your tweet again if you want me to.
let me. I have it right here. Let me look. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
If I did say all of the arguments were trash, I would agree that I don't agree with
Yeah,
that.
so
If
I'll read out the tweet
I
that you
just think
sent.
it was weird.
Bunk decided to do an appearance on a podcast in an incredibly embarrassing fashion, copes for an hour and 15 minutes, while two of the biggest retards in the community nod along with zero pushback. This video unsurprisingly got ratioed by a joke comment. The arguments made by Bunk Politics here are absolutely atrocious, and honestly, I feel like he was dishonest when I asked him in conversation what the strongest condemnation of Chud Logic was. At least at the time, his answer was that he was a weird freak. But in this clip, he says there isn't any relevant moral difference between Chud Logic to an 18 versus 17 and 8-month-old, and that it's trivially true that Chud Logic is weird as fuck with little girls. This is also objectively and obviously wrong. Do you feel like those are like the energy you have on stream with me here is like the same that's there in the tweet? Do you feel like there's probably grounds for me to say that like it seems like you've got a lot of problems with my arguments here, but whenever I'm talking to you, you've got problems with like one statement and how it could kind of possibly imply something that I think something that's not true.
I never. Okay, first of all, I never said that all of your arguments were trash. I don't know. I don't even know where you're pulling that from because you just read the tweet and it doesn't say that.
I just. I'm sorry. So. Okay. Let me. So. What's the issue that you had with what I just read? Where do you think I misquoted you?
I don't think you did. I'm clarifying that I never said all of your arguments were trash.
Okay. So the arguments made by Bunk Politics here are absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, in the clip I linked on that tweet, dumb fuck. That you
Okay.
also obviously didn't
So
watch.
do we want to
because-
listen to the clip?
we
I
can
don't
if
know
you
why
want,
you're
but
being
you
so
also
hostile. I feel like I've been like really, really, really like nice concerning the conversation. Do you?
You just said you think the energy in the tweet here matches what you're bringing here, and then
Well,
I
'cause I
match the
don't.
energy,
I
and
feel
all of
like-
a sudden I'm acting all fucking hostile. I don't know what.
Yeah, but no, not even just like the energy in the tweet. What I'm talking about is just like the things that you're like the arguments are completely atrocious. I'll screen share it for you and we can watch the clip together if you want to. We can
Yeah,
see
we
the
can watch
arguments you
it.
think are trash.
Points that I'll pay.
Also, I don't like you. Obviously, you never even watched that clip because in the quote tweet,
So just
you-
do you want to watch the clip or not? Or
I just want to point out that before you made the tweet at me, you never even watched the clip I linked, which is kind of crazy because you literally.
I never even
you're talking-
watched the clip that you linked.
Yes, because in the tweet where you quote tweeted me,
Attention.
you referenced Synth and I being in the call when we were never in that call.
Yeah, you so to be clear, you were in a call with me. Right?
Yes, but I
Okay,
never
you were in a
clipped
call with me. That call was
call.
referenced in your tweet where you said that you thought I was dishonest.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
so you like
this
you
is
cut out
exactly-
that
this
part.
is
You didn't
exactly-
put that
Hold
part
on,
in the
hold on.
tweet. Instead, you put
This
in
is
just the
exactly-
part where where I had made the statement, and you didn't put in the part where you're corrected on your interpretation of the statement. That was my point. I think that's true. So can we just watch the clip together instead of like rewinding the
didn't-
conversation?
I didn't cut the clip off right before Synth corrects your interpretation. I didn't cut any clip
So
before Synth got the chance to talk.
wait, okay. So whenever I say, do you think it would be wrong for me to say that, like, would you freak the fuck out if I said you were like taking me out of context? If you said you like clipped me out of context, if you quoted me and it was out of context, do you have a problem with me saying that?
Wait, it depends on what you're referring to.
Okay, I'm referring to something like this.
I don't think the clip I made was out of context, though. I included 3.5 minutes of your argument.
So whenever you quoted me, just make sure that this like none of this is out of context, okay? Because you're quoting me here. You think that quoting me and saying that I was dishonest about my strongest condemnation of child logic because I at time had answered that he's a weird freak, right? Just that he's a weird freak, completely cutting out that I said like a weird freak with young girls. And then it was corrected, your interpretation of that not being a strong condemnation. You don't feel like that's out of context.
That is, I don't think that's what.
I feel like that is out of context,
No, hold on.
but I feel like if
Why didn't you
in the
just say-
context of the stream, I think it was explained to you that it was a very strong condemnation. I don't feel like
Then
that
in
was
the-
dishonest. I feel like it was made very, very clear.
Okay. Also, there is a huge difference between young girls, which I would agree with. He was weird. He was technically weird with young girls, and little girls. I think there's a big difference there. But also,
You think there's a big
like,
difference
say I
there?
cut the clip off right before Synth
Well,
corrects your
listen,
interpretation.
I
Why
just
not-
want
why
to
not
get to the
say I-
actual arguments that you think are wrong. Why are we like obsessed over this? Like, well, it's not a clip; it's a quote. Why is that like?
Why'd you say it was a
the
quote?
thing?
Why'd you say it was a clip? That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Because sometimes I misspeak.
Because
I
you
have
didn't
like a
fucking
ton
watch
of fuck ups on Twitter.
Watch the clip. You didn't watch the
I have
clip.
a billion fuck ups on Twitter.
No. What?
Because I have a billion fuck ups on Twitter. Like, I want to get to you like the actual substance of what we're disagreeing on, and
I just-
what you want to do. Because I've already pulled up the clip, and we've seen that you said that the arguments I make here are wrong. And the only thing you're taking contention with is me saying little girl rather than young girls.
Because young
And whenever
girls
I'm trying to bring up the arguments that apparently you think are trash, that are absolute trash, that really deserve this pushback, what you want to do is you want to go back like 50 minutes earlier in the conversation and talk about how it's not a clip, it's a quote.
I'm just pointing out how you didn't fucking watch the clip. That's all I was pointing out. And then you want to like fight me on that for some reason.
So to be clear, if you had clipped me, I wouldn't have to watch the clip. I was fucking there. Okay, to be very, very clear, I wouldn't have to watch the clip to know what I said. So when I'm talking about you quoting me out of context, just holy shit, it's all good. Listen, you can say whatever the fuck you want about the clip or whatever, or like whatever issue you have with the Twitter and me, and then I'm just gonna, can I just play the clip? Can we just watch the clip that you think the arguments are trash in, so we can actually talk about the arguments rather than going round and round in circles about some tweet that was made afterwards?
You said something stupid. You would have to watch the clip to know what.
Well, I think you've said a lot of things that I think are stupid, but I'm not freakishly obsessing over them whenever I'm trying to talk to you about the arguments.
You don't have to freakishly obsess to watch a 3.5-minute clip.
What? I don't think you tracked what I was saying there.
Okay, then go again.
Okay, so I think you've said a lot of things that are stupid, but I'm not freakishly obsessing over some part that's earlier on in this conversation. And then you said something like, I don't think you have to freakishly obsess to watch a 3-minute clip. Do you understand how that doesn't respond to what I said, that like didn't track what I said?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So can we get on to the clip? Can we do that?
Sure, but I just wanted to point out that you definitely did not watch that clip.
Okay, I'm epically owned or whatever. I think that the ideas that have been presented here aren't really negated, even if let's say I didn't watch the clip. I think that all my ideas still remain the same. I think that all my arguments still remain the same. I think that all my points still remain the same. I think that if it's the difference between the clip versus a quote, I think those are the same thing. There's the same thing here, right? You're implying that I was dishonest with you. I think it was made very clear to you that I was making a strong condemnation. I think it was made very clear to you because somebody in the call had explicitly made it clear to you. Does that make sense?
No, because in your first
No, it doesn't make sense?
No,
okay, so if it can just not make sense then, and that's okay. That's totally fine.
In the first paragraph,
can we please get to the clip? Is there any chance we could get to the clip?
Yes, let's watch the clip, but in the first paragraph, you imply
oh my god, please. Oh my fucking god, please. Can we get to the clip of the thing? I've had it up on screen share for a while. All right, cool. That's super sick. All right.
And two are literally just going to be like me ripping myself apart over.
Are you? I don't think I'm screen. Are you screen sharing? I don't
things that only I would. Oh, is the screen share not work? What the fuck is going on? You can't see my screen share?
No, I cannot. It might be.
Oh, Discord is dog shit.
Yes.
We're shooting this CEO of Discord.
True.
Points that I'll pay attention to are literally just going to be like me ripping.
It might be a fuck up on my. Like I said, like I mentioned to you, I'm on fucking mobile, so it might be.
Okay, is it okay if I just play the clip then for the stream? Is that cool?
Yes.
Or you can pull it up on your own end if you want to.
Yes, I'll mute and play it, and then we can talk about it.
It's a debate performance on things that only I would ever notice, if that makes sense. With Queeman, though, going back over the debate in order to rewatch it, have it fresh in my mind for having this conversation, it is miraculous to me that Queeman, for any second, decided to come onto my stream because he wasn't asked to be, right? Yeah. He was not asked to be there. He was not. There was nothing that prompted him to be there other than I attacked his buddy Chud Logic, right? I said his buddy Chud Logic was being a weird freak. I think he is. I think he's a fucking weird freak. I think that an instance like this should be treated almost the exact same way that like an instance of him like texting somebody who was like 17 and 8 months old should be. Like there's not a relevant moral difference that exists there. The ones people are going to want to point to is like it's a legal difference. The age of consent within Britain is like 16, so there's not like really a legal difference that exists there. Nothing prompted him to come into the stream other than me making those comments about Chud Logic. And whenever he came onto the stream, it seemed like he didn't really think about anything very far. Like he hadn't like watched the stream that had taken place up to this point.
No.
He really didn't have much response to any of the points that I brought up to other people who had talked to me earlier. He brought up somebody else having spoken with me and being like epically trolled by them, which I mean, in this specific instance, I went back and rewatched that too. I think they were trolling until like they realized they were doing poorly in the conversation. Many such cases. Whenever I go back over the Queen conversation, I will watch it. Like I can see very clearly. I don't think there's a single point in that conversation, if I'm remembering correctly, it should be because I just rewatched it. I don't think there's a single point that he makes that does not get a prompt response, like almost an immediate response. I think there's like one that he makes where he just repeatedly asks me a question over and over and over again about like gay people getting into relationships and that's bad. To which it just gets ignored because he's interrupting the answer to a second question that he had already asked, and I had already been interrupted in order for him to ask a question. So this is him interrupting my second answer. And
feel like he was
even after
really
that, he
there.
just hold the response. There's not too much that exists there on like the arguments of unclean.
There are so
I
many.
think he was really only there probably. I don't know if he was streaming at the time. I assume he probably was streaming at this time. I think he was only there because people in the chat were like, "Bunk's talking about Chud Logic." So okay, actually,
So many.
context,
There's no cuts.
So
in this clip.
prior to this stream that you did about
I've literally heard like a bunch of cuts. Did they just cut it on the podcast?
Maybe, I have no idea. I also recorded
Yeah, like there's
it
like
on-
very clear like clipping out of what I've said, but it's cool. Like
Logic.
okay.
Well,
Was
I
there
don't.
any,
I don't know.
like-
I didn't cut anything. It was a screen recording on my phone.
did you go on any streams beforehand, or were there like any tweets or anything that like accumulated to the stream happening?
I think that there's only really a few things that kind of happened. One is I was gone and kind of MIA from the internet. I managed to catch wind of the Noah Samson interactions, wherever he called. I think he called Chud Logic a pedophile, which I wouldn't call Chud Logic a pedophile. I wouldn't call him a pedophile because I think there's a lot of other things that you can call him that are like not disputable. Right? I mean, you could say these weird as fuck with little girls. I think that is totally fine, accurate. And I don't think a single motherfucker could ever say anything against that. I think it's like trivially true. It's a trivially true thing in this case. Yeah, but in light of watching the Noah Samson video, I got wind of the actual allegations. I think separately heard like very vague.
Okay, I watched it through. Have you?
I got like 30 more seconds. Alrighty. What do you think I said there that we haven't argued about?
Yeah, I'm saying that you think that all of the arguments are like clearly like they're stupid as fuck. But whenever I'm like talking
all
to
the
you
arguments-
about whenever I'm talking to you about things like the relevant moral differences between the two, like very clearly, I don't think that I'm possibly. Do you think that it's crazy to say that the things that it might indicate
Hold
about
on.
the person's moral character are not a relevant moral difference in the consequences?
We need
Like
to
the
stay on this.
consequences of the situation are the same. Well,
Stay
no,
on this first, though, because you just said my energy wasn't matching what I was on Twitter because I
yeah,
called.
I
all
don't
of
think it
your-
was.
I
I
called
don't
all of
think-
your arguments, which was
Yeah.
not true. And then you played the clip that I'm specifically referencing where I say your arguments are atrocious, and it's literally been like the two things we've argued about most on this stream. So
Well-
I don't know.
Just a second. So I'm trying to answer the things that you're asking me. So again, like in the context of when I say you're not taking the same energy, what I'm saying is you're saying these are fucking absurd arguments. These are some stupid motherfucking shit to be saying, right? Like, that's what you're getting from the tweet. You think it's absurd?
Yes, the two
Okay.
arguments.
You think it's absurd? So this
No.
this is what I mean,
You are-
right? So
Wait,
whenever I'm
that's good.
talking to you about something like what is the morally relevant difference between these two cases, and the thing that you come up with is not even a consequence of the case, right? It's something that might be indicative of the person's moral character later down the line. Like, do you understand why like that's not the same type of energy? Do you understand why like the counter argument you're making here is something along the lines of like, here's something that's not a morally relevant, and like, yeah, I guess I do agree that like all of the things about the cognition tend to be, and like, yeah, I do agree that like all the fucking power imbalances, like, you understand why calling that an absurd thing to be saying is kind of strange? It's not like the same energy.
No, that's just not true. I never agreed that the power imbalances were a good argument. I never agreed with that.
Well, okay, so it's not whether they're a good argument or not, right? Maybe you don't think it's the case. Do you not think that it's the case that one of the really big morally relevant things about fucking a 17-year-old when you're 33 is the power imbalance between the two? Do you not think that?
Okay, when you say power imbalances, I'm sorry. I thought that you were specifically referring to him like being a content creator.
Well, I think that him being a content creator certainly plays into it. I think that it plays into anybody's interaction. I think that if I have interactions, I've had sexual interactions with certain people, and it's like, yeah, that's something I have to be cognizant of. Like, you have to be cognizant of it. Yeah, some people will like try and bend over backwards in order to like have conversations with you. Like, certainly it is something you have to be cognizant of. And then if you add on top of that something like the situation where it comes to like the age of the individuals, like that seems like fucking disgusting to me. Right? And that would also apply in the case of somebody who is like 17 years old, and it also applies in the case of somebody who's 18 years old. So
I just don't
like whenever we're talking about that, you understand why this doesn't feel like it's the same type of thing. Like what we've been talking about mostly has been, could it possibly be implied that the word little girl, even given the context that I'm being very explicit and saying that he's not a pedophile, could possibly maybe somebody think that I think that they're a pedophile? Like, you understand why that's like not calling all of it so objectively and obviously wrong, right?
When did I call it objectively and obviously wrong?
In the tweet.
I said I said the argument.
This is also objectively and obviously wrong.
That I was referring specifically there.
That's when you did.
I was referring specifically there to you saying that he was fucking a little girl, or that he was being.
You
weird
said this
with
is
a girl.
also objectively and obviously wrong. And you want me to just take the statement to be about the clip, and if we're looking at the clip, I mean, like, would you say this is also objectively and obviously wrong? Now what you mean is this very specific part. You understand why the tweet on Twitter, like, this is just my point. The tweet on Twitter is just not the same kind of thing you're giving to me here. And that's okay. I think that your position here is a lot better. It's a lot more defensible. I mean, you've been more reasonable here.
You saying, I also still agree, the arguments you specifically made in reference to Chud Logic within the clip, I still do think are obviously wrong. Like the part about being 17 and 18.
So you do think it's also objectively and obviously wrong?
Yes. Like,
okay, so why did you ask me when you called it? You say it in the tweet. You do mean it about the clip. Why are you asking me? Like, when did I say that? This is the type of thing I mean. It feels like you're trying to like move away from something like that when you're talking to me, like one-on-one.
Sorry, okay.
But like, if you think that they're all so objectively and obviously wrong, I mean, like, well, I guess we can talk about things like the power imbalances and stuff like that. I think that's like way more relevant than the little girl shit. I think that we should like you talking about and kind of just wanting to be on the little girl stuff is strange. If you think that it's all so objectively and obviously wrong.
I think it's objectively and obviously wrong for you to say that he was weird with a little girl and that there's just like no difference between.
I understand that you think that's objectively and obviously wrong. I understand that. We've been talking about that for a little bit. What I'm trying to get is.
Then why are you pressing me on it?
One more time?
Then why are you pressing me on it?
Because that's not the point that I'm talking about. Right.
Okay,
the point that I'm talking about is we're talking about this little bit of like. Yeah, so you can try and do that. I was just going to explain it, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let me see. So you're saying that I was calling all these two arguments wrong that you made in this clip here.
Objectively and obviously wrong, yep.
Yes. And then I somehow haven't argued.
Are any of the premises that I lay down there, are they any of the like premises false? Do you think?
No, I don't think any like any of that is wrong. I'm just saying.
Okay, do you think that any of the I don't know, do you think that like something that I said like doesn't follow from the other things I've said? Like the conclusion of the premises doesn't follow?
No, I think you're wrong. I do think you're wrong about there being little difference between an 18 and 17 and 8 month old.
You agree that there's little cognitive difference between the two, right?
Yeah, okay, little cognitive dissonance. I don't agree that there's
little cognitive difference, yeah.
A moral, like I think there is like a significant enough like moral difference because it speaks to someone's character. Right?
No, I think the relevantly morally wrong thing about fucking a kid is not what it says about your character for breaking the social rule. I think it's the harm that's incurred onto that child. Do you agree?
No, I don't agree.
You don't agree that that's the relevant one.
When you're engaging in something that is completely legal, I don't think that like.
I think it'd be completely legal for him to fuck a 17, 8-month-old.
Yes, but it's wrong because it crosses
there you go.
social boundaries.
No, again, so it's not even, you're not even talking about the legal boundary here. You're talking about the small social boundary difference. What you think is like a somewhat large social boundary difference, which is fine. I can grant that. That even if it is a large social boundary difference, I don't think that's the relevantly morally wrong thing here. I think it's the harm onto the child.
Because if
I feel like that's what we should be talking about.
if I hear about an influencer fucking someone who is 17, I'm going to be like, wow, what the fuck is this guy's issue? He's obviously like willing to break these social norms and like do all this crazy shit. Versus when I hear someone's fucking an 18-year-old, I'm just gonna be like, oh, that guy's fucking weird, and I don't like that.
So the
like,
difference
like
between that's really morally wrong, what the fuck is wrong with this guy, and that's weird to you, is just the social boundary there. It's not the harm unto the child. That's not the thing that makes you morally fucking repulsed. It's the crossing of the social boundary. Because what makes me morally fucking repulsed is the harm unto the child. It's the horrid experience for the child of going through that relationship. That type of relationship for somebody is generally not very fucking good.
Do you think that Keemstar and Chud Logic's situation are like relatively analogous?
I don't know much about Keemstar's situation. I'm not gonna lie. I don't pay much attention to Keemstar.
I don't remember the exact age.
Most of my stuff with Keemstar is like me talking to him about fucking the boxing match or whatever. And I guess watching him like way back when on YouTube, whenever me and my fucking cousin would like throw him on the TV.
Okay, let me look up Keemstar and Brantley's age difference. I don't remember exactly what it is. Star Brantley age. Keemstar is 42 and how fucking old is Brantley? God damn. Fuck! It just shows me Keemstar's age. I don't.
Yeah,
she's
now we're talking about just like this other person.
Yes, but
like I don't know. Yeah, probably if like the age gap is like has a similar amount of disproportionality, and similarly, Keemstar does not know the fucking age of the girl whenever he's interacting with them. Yeah, I think it's fucking gross. Like I think one of the important parts of why you gotta know the age of the individual is so that you can understand the type of thing you're getting yourself into and understand the types of responsibilities you have as the more responsible party.
By your
I think that's one of the relevant things there.
By your standards, Keemstar would be infinitely fucking worse than anything Chud Logic did.
Why?
Because he's in a relationship with this person and they are still dating, and I think they were like 19. I don't remember exactly how long ago it was, but I'm pretty sure she was like 19 and Keem was like late 30s or something like that. Maybe not. Like it was 19 to 21.
Late 30s.
I don't remember exactly what age. 19 to 21.
19 to 21 and late 30s. I'm not super sure. So do you think that did you understand whenever I said that like why knowing the age of the person is like a really important thing here?
Yes.
Okay. Can you repeat that back to me?
Like that, like they are. I don't know. What was it?
Okay. So the reason why I think it's really irrelevant to know the age of the person you're engaging with is because whenever you're engaging with somebody like that, you, as the person who has far more relationship experience, have to do a lot on your end in order to, okay, you understand that? You understand like why you have to make like very cognizant of boundaries and whatnot. I'm not sure what their relationship looks like. I'm not sure the conditions of which they got into a relationship. I'm not very sure about any of that. But if it was the case that Keemstar was engaging with somebody who was dramatically younger than he was and had very little social experience, like for all I know, they could have had many sexual relationships in the past, like many of them, and they could be like very, but in the case of Chud Logic, they're a fucking virgin in his mind. Do you understand where there's like a relevant difference between those two? Like one of these is like really bad.
Is it even? How do you
like
know she's a virgin?
Without the?
Why are you saying that? We don't know
because
that.
He says it explicitly in the messages. Chud Logic thinks that she's a virgin. What are you talking about? Have you read the messages?
Don't you think that she could just be like she lied about her age? Don't you think?
But she could just be lying about being a virgin. Yeah, but he would be under the belief of that, right? There you go. He's under the belief that he's explicitly saying that they're a virgin in the messages. If you read the messages, have you read all the messages? Have you gone over all of them?
I have quite a while
ago. So then you know exactly why I'm saying that she's a virgin here.
This is just I don't don't you think that Keemstar would be an equal amount of that? I just don't understand what the disconnect is here because he's much older dating a much younger person.
So I'm not super sure if you understand so whenever I'm saying that somebody is less experienced in a lot of fields, right? One of them is their emotional development, right? One of them is that of the fact that the person is very, very, very likely to have had no relationships in the past that were sexual. Do you understand why one of these things is different between the scenarios? How it's not just the age gap that plays, like the age gap is an explanatory part of that, right? It's like a causal thing, right? The fact that you can't have these life experiences, you can't have this brain development, you can't have this and that. But there are some things that you very much so can have under your belt, right?
So you think if I
you can, maybe it's limited sexual experience, but like you understand how there's more at play here, and how I'd have to know a little bit more about that, and how it's not just the age gap which makes these things bad. But there are things that account for why these relationships end up in bad places.
Okay,
if you like look into the psychology. Oh, sorry.
If I, as the Chad I am, have had tons of relationship experience, and I find someone who is my age, like who's also 19, and I engage with them, but they're a virgin and they've never really done anything or had a relationship or anything.
Then you have to be cognizant. You have to be very cognizant of the way that you engage with them, I would say. I'd say that you should be very careful about pushing things like sexual boundaries. You should be very, like all of these things, I'd say that they're true. Hell, whenever I'm engaging with somebody who hasn't had many sexual relationships in the past, I do that, right? I do that in my personal life. I hold myself to that fucking standard. But there's more than just that at play. There are things like your general life experience, or your general social maturity, things like your brain development that all play in the role. And whenever we're talking about all of these factors combined on top of each other, it ends up being a really bad relationship dynamic that Chud Logic knows is bad.
Can you remind me of any point in the conversation where Chud Logic is pushing a sexual boundary of some sort?
When did I say he was pushing a sexual boundary?
You just said you have to be cognizant of these factors when you're engaging with someone, as to not push up like a boundary or whatever.
Yeah, whenever you are pushing sexual boundaries, like that's an example, right? Like for example, if you're like, when I say pushing a sexual boundary, I mean like to your knowledge, right? If you're like engaging with like a sexual intercourse act with somebody who's never done that before, you're like trying to initiate that kind of thing, you have to be a little more careful. Right, like that's what I'm saying, that like for you, right, if you've had many sexual experiences in the past, and I'm not sure, this might be, I'm not trying to be mean, have you? I assume you've had some sexual experience in the past?
Yeah,
you seem like somebody who fucks, okay. So if you were to engage with somebody, let's like say like you kind of like even know, that you were to engage with somebody who had never had a relationship before, at all, right? You're their very, very first relationship. Do you think that you would engage with them in the same ways you would engage with somebody who's been in relationships in the past? Or like whenever you're pushing those boundaries, you think you'd be like a little bit more careful? You like maybe they don't fully understand how to say no to those types of things. They don't fully understand how to assert those boundaries. Like you don't know those types of things. You want to make sure that they're comfortable, right? Because you care about them.
Obviously, but where did Chud Logic
there you go. Where did Chud Logic not do that?
Yeah, where did he like not respect? Like, where was he?
I didn't say that he violated a sexual boundary. Like again, I just don't think you're tracking the thing that I'm saying. The thing that I'm saying is that there are a lot of things like relationship boundaries broadly. I think that like in a case like this, you don't have to explicitly violate the boundary, and that's what makes these types of relationships so fucking bad. That's what makes, because you really can't control for that kind of thing. You really can't. Right? That's why you can't just like really carefully engage in like sex with a fucking 15-year-old, because they're not very developed. They don't understand these sort of things to the degree of which you do. They're going to be defaulting to you for a lot of fucking things. You're older than them. You've had more relationship experience than them. You have a more developed brain than they do. You have a more control of your emotions and more understanding of them, and you're a better communicator than they are. Do you understand like all of those? And on top of that, you're a content creator they look up to. Do you understand like all of that when it's at play? Somebody might just agree to things that they're just not comfortable with, right? Like a lot of things might happen in that relationship they might not fuck with, and that's why they might come out later on Twitter or something like that.
So if like the 17-year-old like hypothetically like wasn't a virgin and she was just like a super
I still think that there would be too many factors to control for, but that's another one that's like on top of all the other things. Like I think that's like something that is a large social maturity difference between I don't think you understand. 15 years is a lot. That's a very large gap between two individuals. I don't know, how old are you?
I just said I'm 19.
You're 19 years old. Okay, so 15 years, All right. Can you imagine where your life will even be in 15 years?
I would be 4 if you subtract that from my age.
No, I'm not saying to subtract, because that's not how like development works. That would just be unfair, right? Like, do you understand that like if you are fucking 15 years older, so much about your fucking life changes, so much about your experiences. Like maybe even just like as you are right now, can you look back on like 17-year-old Sailor and be like, hey, that guy was a little bit of a fucking retard. That guy probably didn't know how to communicate his like feelings very well. Like, and so let's say you're like just imagine it for a second. It's a little weird, right? But imagine for a second you had to engage in a relationship with your 17-year-old self. Don't you feel like you have to do like a little bit more? You have to put a little bit more effort into that. If they were 16-year-old self, you'd have to put a little more effort into that. Imagine your 15-year-older self trying to engage in a relationship with an 18-year-old you.
Yes, that would be.
And that's without all of the other factors considered. Like, this is why it's like so morally disgusting to me. This is why it invokes such a visceral moral reaction. Because I understand very directly how these types of relationships can like affect individuals.
I get that. It's just
Like, just in my personal experience, like if I look back on myself fucking a year ago, I think that I have like so much less understanding of the world and like understanding of like how to communicate myself in like the context of, and I have like, even you go back even further, I think I have far less. I have far less experience. I think that there's like there's something to be said about the ability of individuals, because relationships they're a difficult thing. They're a difficult thing between people who are the same age, who have the same emotional maturity.
If you believe all this stuff about Chuck, then why are you so? Well, why don't you like straight up just call him a predator?
Why do I call him a predator? Because I think that a predator implies like a very specific like intent from him, if that makes sense. I don't think that he's like currently. I'm not sure. I don't think he's currently engaging in predatory behavior. I hope not. But like, if you understand all these things, right? Do you disagree with anything that I've said so far? Like, I
thought your argument that he was like recklessly, that he was like reckless and.
Yeah, I think that like so if someone's a predator, do you think they're just being reckless, or do you think that implies something else about them?
Well, you can be willfully reckless, I think.
You can be willfully reckless, you think? Do you think that like whenever somebody's a predator, they're willfully reckless?
I think you can't, like James Charles, for example, technically there's no screenshot of somebody saying, "Hey, I'm 16," but you think
he was like a willingly reckless predator? Yeah, I guess whenever I say predator, I like prescribe like some type of like intent, some like pattern of like of a seeking out of a type of person, and I'm not sure I have enough about the case to say something like that. I'm not sure, but if like, do you disagree with anything that I've said there about like the maturity difference between individuals, like why that would be bad in like a relationship? Is there anything that like feels like really obviously disagreeable there? Because like if you feel like it's really disagreeable, you can like I can show you, like I promise, I like swear to God, I've done like an ungodly amount of research into this, because I don't want to come up with a take like this and not. I've done my due diligence. It's like there's a lot that plays into a relationship. There's a lot of factors, and one like this it's disgusting for a reason.
Okay, then I guess there isn't really like a word for it, I guess, but like you're calling him a pedophile without the underage part. I don't. What would the word for that be? Fuck.
I'm calling him a pedophile without the underage part. I think that the words for that would be weird as fuck with little girls.
Okay. I don't think those are the words for that.
Okay.
Because the little girl part implies the pedophile part. But
okay. Well, I think that like with the facts of the case laid out, I don't think that it does. I don't think it implies that you're a pedophile. I don't think that like that entails somebody being a pedophile from that. But maybe we do have a disagreement there.
I don't understand. You can believe all of this stuff.
Just a second, Blaster. Let me just give us like a little bit. I'm sure we'll wrap up at some point soon. I don't know.
I'm sorry. It has been going on for a while. I apologize.
No, I appreciate you talking to me. You've been like again, I actually didn't bring the like exact same energy, because like I much prefer this Sailor from the person on Twitter. That seemed like really, really hostile. I don't think that like I don't think that you are an unreasonable person, broadly speaking. From what I've seen, you're like one of the people that I actually like in the commentary scene. And I've enjoyed talking to you. I think that it's been useful. It's not even just been useful for like the sake of like explaining myself. It's like it's good to like get the cognition rolling in that kind of way. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yes. Fuck, I forgot low-key what I was gonna say.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
Yeah, no, you're okay. It's not your fault. It's my fault.
Yeah.
I'm just. Yes, I don't. I just. You like. There just has to be a word. God, there has to
Well,
be.
if it
like,
if it makes you feel better, I personally will stop saying little girls. If it makes you feel better, I will stop saying little girls. I will say young girls. If that's the difference to you, I'll make that difference. But then I'm not sure if you really disagree with anything else that I've said.
I mean, I'm lost. What? Maybe it's like my ape brain here coming out. Okay, maybe this is like my retard human brain that's talking. But I don't know what you would call chud logic. I don't know. I think
it is hard. I think it is hard. I think it's like a difficult case to handle properly, if that makes sense. But I think that I'm not super uncertain that it is something that is like very morally wrong. I think that the moral disgust that people feel is like correctly placed.
Because it's obvious you do have a claim, but it's really, I just kind of like meta here, but it's hard for me to argue when like there isn't.
Well, if you want, I'm
sorry.
totally. I'm sorry. I don't. You can finish your sentence. I apologize. I shouldn't have interrupted you.
Yeah, no, you're okay. It's like it's just really hard to. I find it really hard to argue when there isn't like something like you're not claiming someone. Like when your claim is like basically like a paragraph, it's really hard to like.
My really strong
down.
claim is that it's like very morally wrong. Like that's the claim that I'm trying to defend.
Yes.
It's like a very morally wrong thing, and that the response to it has not been proportional to how morally wrong it is. Like I think that we'll chew people out for a lot less.
Yes. Okay. I don't know. I feel like I've explained why I don't agree that it's like significantly morally wrong. Obviously, I fear that we disagree, but I don't know.
It's all right. And sometimes you disagree with people. That happens. Yep. Fucking, what can you do? I appreciate you talking to me about the disagreement, though.
Of course.
Yeah, 100%. And if you ever want to like go back and like talk off stream or something like that, I'm totally willing to talk about that shit too. If you
I'm
want to
fine.
like think about
I
shit.
need to.
Yeah, okay.
Unless you want to talk about maggot edits.
maybe we'll
She
fucking
is
see.
just the worst. Okay.
Holy shit!
Honestly, I think that
This woman is Satan.
I think that maggot
There's
edits
so
being
much.
a mod on your channel is the worst thing you've ever done, Bunk, and you should
They've
feel
been a
fucking-
mod for like since before I took my break. They've been a mod for like over a year now. I'm not sure what they've done. I like genuinely like I don't know. So
It's okay. Maybe that could be our next debate. You can look into. I've done like multiple hours of streams on maggot.
okay. Well, it sounds like I've got a fucking catalog to look there.
No.
I'll get some popcorn.
Yeah, dude. that could be our next debate. Is
Oh.
you watch all 12 hours of Mag Tent on my channel, and then we can.
Jeez, Mag 10. I got
Mag Tent, yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I
Okay.
got you, dude. All right. Well, peace out. Thank you for talking to me. It was a good chat. All right. Hope you have a good day.
Yes. See ya.
All right. Peace
You
out.
too.
Yo, what's up?
Hi. What's up, dude?
Yo, so I do genuinely agree with you with the like a lot of the condemnation of Chud. I think at least what he did was like, you know, irresponsible, reckless, definitely, pretty morally bad, right? Part of the thing I disagree with you with though is the framing that he was talking to little girls, right? Being inappropriate with little girls. What do you define as a little girl? Let's just get that out of the way.
You wanted to debate Bunk or me?
I want to debate Bunk mainly because he made the
So yeah,
segment.
that chat shit you were posting about was just like some nonsense. You don't have an argument.
So,
You
no.
debate
No, like what do you define as a little girl?
Oh, well, I think that it's like it's a relational term. Typically, whenever it's used, it means somebody who is like of a much younger age and is a girl. It's like if you want me to define a girl, like we can go down that line. But.
Yeah, so typically, like, I think the colloquial definition is like a preteen, right? Anybody who's like pre-pubescent girl, right? Do we disagree?
I think that we probably would disagree on that because I wouldn't say that somebody's wrong for saying that somebody's like you're a little girl in the context of like talking about somebody who might not know about something. Right, like if I said like you can't you can't go out like and do X and Y, you're like a little girl and like you're fucking, you know what I mean? Like that's
But you
I
can
don't think
understand
that
that when you're
that's
specifically
incorrect.
doing it in an inappropriate context, when you're like condemning somebody morally, referring to the person on the other side as a little girl is just obviously like bad faith, in my opinion.
I think it's obviously bad faith. I feel like it's really not bad faith. I feel like, because if I was being bad faith, you take it that I'm like being dishonest. I assume. Like I'm being dishonest in some way.
It's
I think
hurting
that
your argument when you're purposely trying to use all this charged language to make him seem worse than he is.
well, so I don't know if it makes him seem worse than he is, because I think it's really bad, and I don't think that I'm being dishonest. I don't think anybody came away thinking that he like was talking to a preteen girl. I don't think anybody came away with that. That's kind of where I'm at, if that makes sense. But
so the girl is 17, right?
yeah,
He thought that that she was 18, right? And I'm gonna give you two statements. First statement, like, oh, he was talking to inappropriately with teen girls, right? Second statement, he's talking inappropriately with little girls, right? There's obviously a difference there. There's obviously a difference.
So one more time, you think there's a difference between saying somebody is talking inappropriately with teen girls and little girls? There's a difference.
Obviously, yes.
Yeah. I think there is a difference that exists there. Clearly, there's a difference that exists between those two statements. I think that one of these invokes like a very, very strong moral wrong feeling, and the other one invokes like very little as far as a moral wrong feeling is concerned, as it concerns to like the age specifically. I think that, like the age specifically is invoked whenever you say little girls. But if it's like if that's like the I don't even know, like if that's the really big concern that exists there, I'm not super sure how to like parse out that disagreement. Because I think that like, yeah, it invokes that like it's morally wrong due to some age-related factor, like some relational age-related factor. I think saying that somebody's like talking inappropriately with teen girls, you could say that about like some fucking like 20-year-old or something, right? They're talking inappropriately with teen girls. It's like that's probably fine. But like when we're talking about somebody who's like 33 years old, like a teen girl is like a little girl to them. That's a little girl.
That's why I don't think his age should change the word that you're referring to her as. I don't think that should change that.
You don't?
Her age is a constant. Her age does not get changed. Like the word that you use to describe her does not change based on him, you know?
Well, I think that it certainly should. I think that the language that I would use to describe the individual, like and how young they are, will certainly change based on the individuals in question. Like, I would not say that somebody's talking inappropriately to little girls if it was a little boy talking to them, if it was like somebody of similar age, right? Like, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that because of the relational age. I think that the context of which words are spoken very much so is important. It's important to the meaning of the words themselves.
Sure. But then I think with the actual, like, what actually happened here does not invoke something of that strong a condemnation or of that strong of a language change.
You don't think that it invokes that strong of a condemnation? I guess, do you think that it would be wrong to say that they like inappropriately talk to little girls if it was like a 17-year-old?
I don't think little girls is the proper word to use there, no.
Yeah, you think that's wrong, and presumably you think it's wrong to say about like a 16-year-old too. Anyone who's like not a preteen.
Yeah.
Okay, so personally, I wouldn't have an issue with saying that like Chud Logic is inappropriately talking to little girls if he was like fucking around with like a 13-year-old. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Yeah, because I mean,
I think that would be accurate. But like, I get not sure.
I think the reason why I think that'd be accurate is because based on the action itself. So it's like if we say like, oh, Epstein was fucking around with like little girls and they're like 16, right? But then Chud just talking to somebody who he believed to be 18 years old, like. Is that now like I feel like we changed the language based on the severity of the action.
Yeah, I agree that we changed the language based on the severity of the action. And my point, like throughout all of this, has been like the severity of the action between some fucking around with somebody who's like 17 and fucking around with somebody who's 18 here, or like very similar. They're very similar severities. If not like again, almost all of the same factors are employed. And so I don't think that very much so we're talking about like we're talking about some large moral difference, which all of a sudden, like, no longer the term is applicable, in the same way that, like, you would say the term is no longer applicable in, like, the case of Epstein.
Yeah, I just think the main thing that also differentiates the language change is that they're seeking out somebody who's specifically a younger girl, a little girl, right?
But they're, like, seeking out some, but I think that he kind of is, yeah. I think like he's fetishizing them being like a virgin. Yeah, like in the messages. Well, yeah, like a little bit, yeah. Not like their age specifically, but like their relative inexperience and whatnot. Yeah. I mean, like he's fetishizing them in the messages.
That goes so far as to now refer to them as a little girl. Like,
I think that like in relation to Child Logic, they're like surely a little girl. Like it's this fucking woman who's like not ever had a sexual relationship before. When this guy's like 33 and has been through a marriage and divorce and has a kid, is like that does feel very much so like a little girl by relation to
adding
me.
all of these things to like make it seem worse, right?
Well,
but I don't
because
think
these are the facts of the matter. I don't these things make it seem worse because they are worse things.
I don't think his life experience combined with what he actually did makes it so that you can now refer to her as a little girl.
Okay, so you don't think that the life experience combined with what he did makes it so you can refer to her as a little girl?
If what he did was far worse, then sure.
So how bad does it have to be?
If he fucking raped her, right? If he fucking raped her, then you're like, oh yeah, he's raping little girls. You know, to a certain extent, I still think 17 is like, there's very little.
Well, if he raped her, you'd be okay with calling it like a little girl. Is what you're saying? Like, there's the moral severity difference between these, and that's the reason why. There's.
I don't know if I would still say like, oh, he's like raping little girls, because I still just fundamentally think that, you know, a 17-year-old on very little context could be considered a little girl. I just fundamentally think
what context do you think that they could be referred to as a little girl? Like, in what context do you think that is the case?
I don't know, maybe like an Epstein kind of thing, probably. You know, just
like an Epstein kind of thing. Like, so, is it like?
But even that, like, I still think like.
You think that like the distinction here is between, because little girl here is constant. You think the distinction that exists here is between the action taken towards the individual? Right, like if it was like if they had raped and murdered them, like that would like like fucking raped and murdered a little girl.
Yeah, then like I can envision, you know, news articles like, oh, 80-year-old man rapes and kills little girl.
Well, yeah, I to some extent do agree. Yeah, I think I'd agree with that sentiment as far as what I'm okay with saying myself. But whenever we're talking about the context of like what's happened here and like what moral severity would warrant that, I think that like I wouldn't have an issue with somebody saying that. Like, I'm sure nobody else would have like a large issue if somebody had said something like, yeah, like Lion Maker was fucking around with a little girl.
Yeah, because then it's like the action is so severe that it's like what you don't really care what level of slander we inflict.
Let's bar out. So we don't care what level of slander but I don't think that it's.
I still think it's not exactly
is it
accurate.
slander?
It's not exactly accurate, right?
Do you think it's like slander
it's
towards the person? Do you think it'd be like slander to say that like Lion Maker was in a relationship with a little girl?
That is a level of like moral condemnation, right? Because still fundamentally, I don't think that our little girl, but then it gets more okay to use that word depending on the severity, because we're just trying to condemn them, right?
Yeah, it gets more okay depending on the severity, and I think that the severity that exists here between like these two individuals, like it's certainly less than that of Lion Maker. It's like probably leagues less than that of like Lion Maker. I don't that the severity difference is like large enough to say that it's like no longer something you'd be okay with saying. In the same way that like if somebody was quiet like doing this with like a 17-year-old, I don't think anybody would have an issue with saying that they were fucking around with like a little girl. They were like chatting up a little girl.
Another problem that I have with just like using that language in regards to this case is like if somebody is like not very informed, and like this is just completely hypothetical because this is very unlikely, but if someone's just not really informed about the case and then they hear you saying Chud Logic talking to little girls,
that's impossible to be a case though.
I know
because it's in the I would only ever say that in the context where I talked about the case.
You want to, because you're speaking to people who already know this case very well, but if
I've
you use this
already
logic,
whenever I go down, like in the episode where I say that, I go down the facts of the case. I don't say anything wrong about the facts of the case. And like I agree with you there. Like I'm in agreement. That was like one of my points is that it's in the context of the facts of the case. We have the facts of the case on the table. You know what I mean whenever I say something like that. Right? It's like not a wrong thing to say. You can say it like it gets people really upset.
and that makes people more likely to like want to argue with me about it or something. But I think that people would have like wanted to argue with me about it by default. I mean, like there's a very, very large bias towards Chud Logic as it concerns to this case, just because of the way that it was handled way back when, and just its incorporation with people in the community in good standing. And so I think that there would be disagreement anyway. I think that the people I'm trying to appeal to whenever I make a statement like that are the people who are already, before talking to me, thinking about like the actual morals of the case. Like what are the things that make it bad?
Sure, yeah, I can see that, but I just think it's not a great standard to have, to speak very hyperbolically about instances involving like possible inappropriate relations with minors.
So I'm not super sure it's hyperbolic, but yeah.
I think it is undoubtedly hyperbolic.
Well, I mean, so when you say it's hyperbolic, you mean that like what I'm saying is like a stretching of the truth, you think?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't think that it's not true that this person is a little girl to Chud Logic. I think that it is true that whenever we're talking about someone being a little girl, we're talking about it as like relational to like some individual, right? You wouldn't call someone a little girl if it was the case that they were the same, like they were the same age as you. And so like I don't think it's a stretching of the truth. I think it's like it just is true. It's like a true on the surface level. It's like a true on the surface statement.
Like, always has like a certain cap. I think that cap is lower than 17.
Yeah, you think that it has a certain cap, and the certain cap is lower than 17?
In like, especially like in a context like this, you know.
Well, yeah, okay. So how?
Yeah, I think young girl will be much more descriptive, like much more like accurate to the actual facts of the case.
Okay.
My little girl just graduated college.
Yeah, no, you can say that same claim, but that's a completely different context.
But you said always.
Huh?
You said it always has a cap. And the cap you said.
No, in this context, like in a context of inappropriate relations.
Oh,
like...
so not always.
Okay. I said it right after, like in this context, if you want to.
Yeah, no, even in this context. No, in this context, the term's clearly not being used that way, because Bunk has told you it's not being used that way.
Mm-hmm. I think that it's pretty clear, I guess, from like the way that I have spoken on the case, that it's not being used that way. That it's being used in the sense of like referring to somebody as like young and inexperienced by relation.
You can say that, but I think what people are going to take away is like, oh, he's talking to a fucking kid, like a 12-year-old.
No,
well, I don't think that's
explicitly said in the stream what the age is. So no, nobody's going to take that away. You didn't take
I know,
that away.
it's just not a good like standard to have.
Oh, you know? Opinion. So it's certainly not the case anybody's going to take it away, and you know that.
But carrying that standard forward, like if you're just going to always use hyperbolic language, like in regards to like pedophilia cases.
You keep saying it's hyperbolic. It's not hyperbolic because it's descriptively true. You understand what hyperbolic means?
I think I just will not. You cannot convince me that like little girl in this context is not hyperbolic.
Yeah, that's just you restating the position again. You did that all just like a common occurrence for you.
Do you have a sticker for your ass or something? Are you good? Did you?
I don't like you in particular because you're being wildly bad faith. Do you want to do? Do you want to talk about the arguments? Do you want to talk about the arguments? Or you just want to like talk about tone?
You want to talk a little slower?
No. You're like seriously?
This is the best you got? The Adderall's fucking kicking in. We're still back.
You need Adderall. Pay attention. Lock and retire. So do you have an argument? Yes or no?
I think in the context of a 33-year-old man talking to a 17-year-old, the word "little girl" is not descriptive. It's not accurate.
Yeah, that's
I'm
your position
going to the
again.
bathroom.
Yeah, you did that again. Now try making use of the restroom. That's step 2.
This is.
Dude, I guess it's Jover.
All right, do you have an argument for it? Yes or no?
Little girl is typically used to refer to people.
Yeah, the question was, do you have an argument for your position? Don't just restate it a third time. Yes or no, do you have an argument for it?
Joe Biden.
Damn, you genuinely should never speak in public again.
You genuinely should never speak in public again.
Raising your voice is going to make you sound more like, I wish it did. We should trade voices, and I'd pass better. So would you?
You have an argument for that position?
That's the best you can come up with? That shit sucks, dog. Give up.
Not bad.
You spent like 10 seconds thinking, and that's what you spat out. Alright, so let's try this again. Right, let's see if you can do it this time. So, there are obviously cases where use the term in different ways, and you wouldn't say any of those people are descriptively incorrect. So why the fuck would you think Bunk is descriptively incorrect? Don't just say you think it's the case. Give me an argument.
Okay, so Bunk's argument is that like it's in relation to his age and her age, right?
I'm looking for your argument. Can you give me an argument?
I just think like it's colloquially known. Like you can look.
Yeah,
it up.
That's the position again. Now try again. Can you give me an argument? Don't restate your view again. Can you give me an argument? Yeah, the fake laughing shit's not gonna help your ego.
Are you okay, bro? Like, do you have a problem?
That shit was not rhetorical. Let's try again. All right. Do you have an argument in favor of your view? Yes or no? You came on stream to argue about this subject. You don't have any argument. You just want to say the same view over and over again?
Let me get back.
Like, everyone's bored of watching you retards restate the same view over and over and over again. It's just, like, obviously looping. Do you have an argument? I gave you a counterexample. I gave you my argument. Are you going to be back? Let's see when you get back.
Okay. I think it is nice that they agree, at least to some degree, with the combination of child logic, but I the Sailor conversation was good. That was like surprisingly good.
Honestly, I think he was ratting and wheezing, but
well, I
get
mean,
you guys
to some, yeah, to like some degree, but I feel like to some degree, like everybody does that when they talk to me from the commentary, like just like a little bit, like even if it's subconscious, it's like a subconscious thing. You know what I mean?
I don't think that was subconscious. I think he was actively being avoidant. He like made some real strong claims on Twitter, hopped into VC, and then got he was talking real big, then he started talking real small, and they keep doing this. I think it's just Disney News lying. I don't think these motherfuckers are being honest at all.
Yeah, maybe. I will say I do enjoy the conversations with people. I think the place that he was like very clearly like trying to weasel the most was when he wanted to talk about like whether it was a clip or whether it was a quote. Like, really? Can we just talk about the argument on Twitter? Can we talk about the actual argument? But I thought I enjoyed talking to him. So
okay. So if you want to get really
you've had a really long time to think. Do you have an argument yet?
No. So I have no argument. I'll say I have no argument.
All right, then what are you doing?
I feel, and you could Joe Biden, but it's just how I feel. And I think like. I don't think a 17-year-old's a little girl. I think they're a young girl, but I don't know.
And your definition of little girl is what?
Anybody who's like prepubescent child.
And you agree that like that's not the way general society sees the usage because people don't think they're incorrect when somebody says my little girl just graduated college.
In the context of this,
or when they say like Jeffrey Epstein was indicted for sex trafficking.
Well, it's like baby, it's like the word baby. It's like, oh, like my baby who's like a 40-year-old man. Like if I'm a fucking like mother and it's like, oh, my baby just got his first car at 30 years old or something, like words can have different contexts. Like they can have different meanings in different contexts.
That's right. And then in this particular context, you've been given the meaning, haven't you?
Yes, but I just disagree with
definition. Yeah, you don't. Yeah, that's not how definitions work. You don't disagree with definitions. You might be using a different.
What do you mean you don't disagree with definitions? Wait, hold on. No.
Are you retarded? You're about to get fucking bodied on this. This is the wrong way to go. Wrong argument.
Wait. You want
to argue about that?
What?
Yeah, don't get into the fucking. Yeah, are you?
Of course, we can disagree on definitions. That's what semantics is.
No, that's not what semantics. The whole point of people saying you're arguing semantics is that it's not substance. You're arguing semantics instead of substance. There's no real dispute going on.
Are not
when you and
always
another, excuse me, retard. When you and another, semantics are important.
Sometimes.
Yeah, semantics are important. Is morally important. It's not the case that those semantics are factually important because there's no fact about the matter. Where do you think the truth of a definition comes from? What do you think a true definition?
Definition? What do you mean, like?
What makes a definition true?
Created by society, like
definitions are created by society and by individuals in society, and different individuals. No, not widespread agreement, because most people don't speak English, so that's not true either. So, what makes a definition true,
bruh?
What makes a definition true?
If everybody agrees, like if most people agree. I don't know.
If most people agree, do most people speak English?
Most people agree with you.
You can't. You argued this.
We're obviously talking about English speakers in the context.
Oh, really?
Of
so do most people? So if you're in like a fucking the Midwest and you call a water fountain a bubbler, Do you think you're using the
There's a difference
words
between
incorrectly?
dialects and the English language as a
Do
whole.
you
dude,
think
like-
you're using words incorrectly? Yes or no?
Dude, can we get back to what we're actually talking about?
Do you
Like,
think you're using words?
Why are you going on this
incorrectly?
Midwest diatribe?
Yes or no? Yes or no?
I didn't even know what you
They're
said.
fucking bubblers.
Yes, you did because you just directly referenced it. You called it a Midwest diatribe. You know exactly what I'm saying.
I don't know what you. No,
I'm
no, no, I
asking
don't
you a
know what you
question.
said. I don't know what you originally.
All
I
right,
just heard
ask
the
you
word
again. Pay
Midwest.
attention. Lock in, retard. Lock in. All right, pay
My bad, my
close
bad, my
attention.
bad.
Pay close attention. So, when people in the Midwest refer to water fountains as bubblers, are they wrong? Are they incorrect?
What's the wider point you're trying to make?
Are they incorrect? Yes or no?
Are they incorrect? I mean, their word for it, right? It's their slang.
What's the combo?
So they're not incorrect. So it's not based on general usage in English. It's based on what other people are reasonably going to be interpreting you as.
Right
And
now
in this
they're
case, you
talking about
understand exactly what's meant.
they're talking about
So your argument is
the
shit. You want to go? You want to
truth of definitions in relation to me calling somebody a little girl.
Any argument you want. Just make one.
Like, I don't know what
When
the
I
whole
said
purpose
that,
of that just was.
Chud Logic was like
Prove
fucking
you were
around with
wrong
like a
on the
little
stupid fucking
girl
Definitions. For some reason, you thought what I was saying was absurd. I was like
because
obviously fucking
the
correct.
girl was
Arguing
like
definitions
wildly
is
younger
like-
and less experienced than
You
he was.
said
Waste of
you said
time.
we can't argue what what definitions are. Like, how
It
is that?
a waste of time? Yeah, you can try back and forth.
How is
to
it a
argue
waste
over
of
definition.
time?
There's no truth of the matter. Because there's no
I
truth
think
of the matter.
arguing over definitions is like what most like arguments are about.
Wow, that's really sad. I wish they were about something else.
Bro,
You do any other like
It is
fucking wry
ASMR.
observations you want to make, retard?
That's exactly what's going on.
dude, why are you like so aggressive? Are you good?
You're
Welcome to
being
the
aggressive.
ASMR
You're just
session.
being
How am I being
passive-
aggressive, bro? How am I being
You're
aggressive?
just being passive aggressive because you're a bitch.
I'm a bitch. Oh, fuck,
Yeah,
dude.
you're
I
a bitch.
guess.
You
Guess I'm a
came in
bitch,
with
dude.
like you wanted to be like smug or something, and you want to do like a fake laugh, but you don't argue against me.
How am I doing
you
a
don't
fake?
have an
I'm just.
argument
Are
because you keep doing the affected laugh, and it's really bad.
Do you have
It's
like?
painful.
Do you have like something going on, dude? Do you have like
Do you
a
have
like a
do you
dad
have
like in a fucking
fucking
psychological
response
evaluation?
to anything I've said so far?
Because you're talking at
Play
a million
Forza
miles per
4.
second. I can't like you have to talk slower.
All right,
dude.
speed your brain
I
up.
just got
sorry.
invited to play Forza 4 by
All right, I'll get the
Texan.
Adderall. I'll match your-
Absolutely.
I'll
Get
match
your
your
Adderall.
freak.
You need that Adderall. Pay in.
I'll match your freak, dude. Don't worry,
We
I'll
should
match your
totally
freak.
play
Pay in.
Forza. I can't imagine the stream will
Dude,
go on for that much longer.
so bad.
Surprisingly, so many people disagree with me, and
I
that
don't
there's
disagree.
nobody here.
last
There's
year,
so many people
pay
to like
attention.
reply to my
Yes.
tweets
Don't
on
get
Twitter about
distracted,
random
don't
shit, but
start,
there's
like, doing
nobody here to
giggle
talk
and, like,
about
pretending
the
you're
arguments as to why I'm wrong.
confident or that you're like smug or something. Just pay attention to the argument. So
We
I'm
playing
the
Forza
smug
4.
one.
We
I'm
are
the
playing
smug one,
Forza
guys.
4.
Yeah, I'm the
look,
smug one.
We're both smug,
I'm the
but
smug
I'm
one.
justified. We're both smug, but I'm
Having a Discord debate ego is not being the smug one, but you know, just
we're
talking is
both
being.
we're both smug, but I'm justified.
How am I
saying that.
smug, bro?
We are going to be playing Forza immediately
retarded?
afterwards in my server. I will
Like,
be
what are you
smoking
talking about?
everybody
Are
in
you
Forza
diagnosed?
4. Okay,
I am,
every
dude.
single
I'm
one of you
diagnosed with
motherfuckers is
Forza.
How
gonna
are you
get
smug?
blown
You
the
don't
fuck
know?
out
You can't tell how you're smug.
in a head-on-head.
Look, let's just pay attention to the substance, right? Pay attention, okay?
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
Pay attention. Pay attention. Pay in, okay? So look, I want you to just try your best to tell me why you think what Bunk said was incorrect if you understand that on Bunk's definition, which is one that people commonly accept, because I can give you examples where people accept it, including ones where you do. Can you give me a reason why you think it was factually incorrect? Or are you just going to keep saying that he's not using your definition?
Here's
Your
what I'll
insane
say. I'll
definition,
say,
nobody uses it.
I don't think he's actually incorrect. I just think we disagree.
All right, you disagree on
Because I can
you
see
don't,
because I
you
can
don't think
see
he's
why.
incorrect, but you disagree. Yeah, that's not retarded at all.
Like I don't think
That's
he's
fucked up.
objectively incorrect for using the word little girls, but I just disagree because I would not.
think he's
90k
correct on the
I would use young
horsepower.
girls. I would use young girls.
How do you
not
90k
little
horsepower?
girls.
I need to know
Yeah,
what
you-
you're
you-
rating.
I can see. I can
Who
see
cares?
the,
How are you
the
getting
argument
90k
for.
This is so
relation,
unrelated.
like,
This is so
difference in,
wildly unrelated with
like,
tangent
age.
I'm on.
I can see his point of view.
Dakota's
but would
doing
just
very
not
well. Like
necessarily
Since doing well in the
use word
debate
little girls.
is my
Yeah,
commentary,
he
I
would
guess.
use it,
But
and
I want to
Bunk
know
would,
how we
and
get
there's no
90k
disagreement.
That's okay.
horsepower.
Okay, good. So there's no disagreement. Cool.
We can do.
You were wrong.
We can do triple I.
Yes.
We also do S1 or S2.
Talk, buddy.
Good talk.
Thanks
You
for
don't
coming
seem
on.
that bad. Oh, you laughed.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like the mean shit really works with these people.
I mean, to some degree, yeah. But
was a
jeez,
focus.
you know, I'm not, I'm not super. I'm not even super sure how the fuck we get to how the fuck I don't know how we get into arguing about, but is it actually a little girl though, when we have a guy who's fucking on somebody 15 years his junior.
Yeah,
Fresh out of high school.
He's just a freak. He's a fucking. He's clearly
Like, I'm
morally
not-
reprehensible. He's clearly a freak.
Sure.
The reason why people want to argue about that is they think they like can get you on some semantic. It's not because they think it's like important or substantive. They're just rad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, God, I will say I do enjoy the commentary community debates. Because there's something so different about the way the argument you've seen it. It's like so different the way it plays out from like somebody, because they just don't. They're not like looking to do the hyper debate thing, which makes it like so. It makes it more enjoyable than talking to somebody who's like a hyper debate retard for me. Does that make sense? Because at like the very least, you're talking to me like a person would kind of talk to me. Like, yeah, you don't believe things that like your average person believes, but you're talking to me like a person would talk to me about what they believe. Like I wouldn't talk to some random motherfucker on the street and disagree with them, and they'd be like, "That shit is not rhetorical. That shit is not rhetorical."
That shit. Love that phrase.
That shit is
Those
banger.
motherfuckers came up with the funniest shit I've ever.
Nobody in the chat has any fucking clue what that shit is not rhetorical is a reference to. Not a single motherfucker in the chat has a clue.
You know what? Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if there were a lot of motherfuckers in who like there are a lot of people who come over from the anime fucking shit and watch your shit. I mean, fucking Troyer was in chat earlier.
Really? Yeah.
You know,
No,
Destroyer's Friction.
Oh, Detroit's Friction on YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see I fucking would have read out the messages if I knew it was fucking. I'm like so, God, oh, we have Captain Ink as well. Captain Ink, didn't you want to talk to me earlier today? Weren't you like talking about how you were gonna like epically debate on me or whatever? Weren't you trying to talk to me about like abortion or something? This is everything. So you don't gotta just talk about Chud Logic. Get a fucking issue, we can talk about it. You know how fucking. Oh, also, Dakota, this is completely unrelated, but you will totally get this. You know exactly the person that I am. Do you know how fucking stupid I feel for having like 40 pages worth of notes for the conversation with Sailor? With like all of the citations.
Yeah, that's great.
Do you know how like insane I feel? Like I want you to see. I'm gonna screen. I'm gonna just move over my tabs, and y'all are gonna see like the fucking plethora of random ass notes that I have taken for the conversation. Like this is what the prep work looks like for one of those conversations. This is what it looks like before I do like a little show. All right. It is always gonna look like some insane freak shit. Where is my thing that displays my window? Where's my window display? Am I retarded? I might be a retard. Display capture maybe? Yeah, there you go. That's where it is. That I don't know how to stream anymore. I like real shit don't know how to stream anymore. It's like bad. How do these softwares work? This is terrible. Awful dog shit live stream. Dog shit live stream. Yeah, look at this. These are the tabs I have open, just in the background for like purpose. I read through this. shit. You see this shit?
Merit satisfaction of differently aged couple.
Do you see this shit? Imagine being me before a stream, like 2 or so hours before talking to somebody, and I've got to go. Not only do I have to go and go back and like I have to collect them, I go back and I reread the shit. And I have the conversation, and we're talking about like, is it actually a little girl though? Like
they're fucking. It's always like really disappointing with the. I get the upsides of the commentary people, and that they're like not they don't have like this debate formula or some shit that you got to cut through.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of good, but god damn, prepping. You're prepping like it's about to be a Twitch politics debate.
No, that's
which you should
real
do
shit.
Always.
No, because like.
Fuck.
Well, the idea was also
because
I was gonna, yeah, I know, real shit. Because like the entire idea of the stream was like, okay, well, fucking, you got some fucking issue with me, you want to fucking talk to me? Yeah, go for it. Like, fine, come on, I'll take on anybody. I'll take anybody, anytime, anywhere, any place in the fucking math room. I'll debate you on meta ethics. Fucking take me. Oh, these are fucking duplicated tabs. Fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. Close that tab. Like, real shit. Real shit.
So I know there's more.
This is the place we get to.
About? No, there's much more to stream about. But do you plan on covering the what is it?
Thank you, Happy. I really appreciate it. Holy shit.
my dude.
Okay.
Jesus Christ, thank you. Appreciate you. Yeah, I don't always say fucking super appreciate every single person who donates to the stream. It's like a big thing every single time it happens. Didn't read out many donations the last time because a lot of them were fucking gay. But this shit is do more membership streams, little bro. I should do more membership stream. The problem is like I'm not super sure what a membership stream really looks like out of my channel, if that makes sense. I think that a really easy way to like, because I do have to get back into doing like stream rewards and whatnot. I guess I can like try and put together like chat goals and like donation goals or whatever, but like it's holy shit, like you guys have seen, I don't even fucking know how to use my streaming software. I have no fucking clue how to fucking edit my stream tabs. For some reason, my camera decided it's not going to work. This was not supposed to be a no camera live stream. I didn't know I didn't have a camera until like fucking halfway through the stream. I guess this is why you test things before you go live.
My dude.
But, but what happens, you know, what fuck you need to do? I do think it's like very, very much so on, but I at the very least want to be doing a stream like every 2 weeks or so. One thing that's important, why not dual stream on Kick? Dual streaming on Kick. Low key, is Kick any good? Is like Kick even worth dual streaming on? Is there like a large place to get like a uptick in viewership from Kick? Because I genuinely don't use the fucking platform. I know I used to dual stream on Twitch as well. In fact, I think at one point I was like committed to fully streaming on Twitch, and then I just got like all my shit nuked. So I haven't done like a dual stream since I've been on like Twitch broadly. I don't think it would be super hard to set up, but
I was gonna ask if you plan on this stream covering the revenge porn allegation.
Oh, the Destiny stuff. Yeah, the like insane freak Destiny stuff.
Yeah, that was the ultra.
I feel like if you like confirmed even before that, like Destiny's a fucking freak. I don't even like, cause you know, fucking me and you were and fucking everybody we're talking about. No, I just like fucking everybody in our household and shit. We're talking about like, yeah, this fucking Destiny's guy's like insanely freakish with relationship stuff. This guy's like so fucking weird, right? Like fucking look at him fucking like verifiably having cheated on Melina. Look at him like fucking doing all the weird shit with Anne of War. Look, and like now this extra thing comes, and for everybody else, like, what the fuck? Oh my fucking Destiny did what? And I'm sitting here like, yeah, he would.
Could have possibly.
Yeah, he would have. Yeah, he definitely would have.
Like I had to.
Welcome to capitalism,
so
my dude.
We're living with fucking Paul, and you know this. That motherfucker is a Destiny fan. Okay, he's like a Destiny fan. There was like not a single thing that would happen on the stream regarding this motherfucker.
Welcome to capitalism, my
dude.
dude.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Bones, Steam for becoming a member. Thank you, Yappy for becoming a member, having donated 2 memberships. Holy shit, I really fucking appreciate it. Holy fuck. I would get up and I'd do a little dance, but I don't have my camera, so I guess we'll do a little dance next time. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Yeah, fuck. Shit, I'm sorry. I like fucking completely axed off what you were saying about Destiny.
Oh, I wasn't. I was just talking. I was yapping about Paul. How Paul will like always mention anything anytime anything happens. I mean, like. No,
that's true. Yeah. Oh my god, I got like the constant Destiny updates from Paul. Did you do Destiny? Did you? And fucking Paul. Okay, so this is nobody else on the stream knows. I totally get to say this is fine. Me and Dakota used to have like a roommate together. And he when we were riding his car, rather than playing like, I don't know, music or a podcast, would play the like live Destiny stream. Like the live feed of the Destiny stream would be coming through the speaker system, the surround sound of the car. So like every single time we had to have, it did not matter if I wanted to listen to Destiny. I had to listen to what Destiny had to say. Okay, I'm not. If I was right, you have to listen to what Destiny has to say. Okay, you have to listen to every new Destiny drop, every new Destiny take as it's happening live on stream. And I'm like turning to Dakota like, what the fuck did he just? That's retarded. That's some retarded ass shit. What the fuck is he? Where did he get that from? What in the fuck? If you were poor, why did you have to take out loans to go to college?
True.
Really?
I like, god damn, I was in fucking shock.
Why?
hearing that shit.
And it just
so
becomes this like
bad.
this big thing where we're all like freaking the fuck out about every single new Destiny thing that he says. It's like really fucking dumb. Because the thing is like if you watch just Destiny debate other people, you're very likely to not hear a lot of like dumb Destiny stuff. Like they'll be more like reserved. The second he is off of that shit, I mean, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only one who like watches a Destiny stream and like really cares to like listen to everything super attentively to like see if it's like, no, that's retarded. That's some retarded ass shit to be saying. Maybe it's like the only this set of group of people, you know what I mean? This is like the small set, but oh my fucking god, if you just listen to the Destiny show, like it's like every 20 minutes he'll say something that's like, what the fuck? What?
Paul just sent me
What?
Paul sent me a DM and said, I'm playing Elden Ring when I'm hearing y'all talk about me.
Let's go.
Distracting me from my Godfrey boss.
The surround sound Destiny. No, bro did let me play stuff over the aux. I would play like Kendrick and I would play like fucking Yeet and I would play like whatever fucking Polo G shit, whatever shit I was listening to. That speaker system, it goes fucking hard on that car. It is neat.
It is so good.
So you got to listen to Destiny in like premium quality and like premium shit. All right, like as though you were in the Destiny. Imagine if the Destiny had like a live show and it was like a stage and like there were like big subwoofers that were giving you his voice. Imagine it's an experience. It is an experience. Okay.
Clockwork Orange style, eyes pulled back.
Absolutely, it was fucking it's amazing. I have 4 speakers set up, so it's nice. Oh my god, yeah. So you can listen to Destiny in extra quality.
How much you know about Sunday? I don't.
Yeah, this is the really disappointing thing. Stream. I am supposed to have a debate with President Sunday. And I was supposed to have a debate with President Sunday. Right before, we talked about it, right before this motherfucker drops his video on Destiny. And now, I know that motherfucker is not talking to me for a hot minute, okay? He's gonna be busy. He's gonna be busy talking to people about a bunch of different, he's gonna be talking to people at Destiny's cock and where it's going and what's getting filmed on it and where he's talking, and there's gonna be a whole thing. And so we're gonna have to wait on the President Sunday debate on the Chud Logic stuff. We're gonna have to wait on that. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not super amped up for it, but it would be a stream moment. It would certainly be a stream moment. I watched his debate with the Femios, because he sent it to me and he was like, you might want to like watch this to like prep on the stuff or whatever and like think about the questions that I'm asking. And like there's not like a single question that he asks this doesn't have like a obvious response, like, oh yeah, that's like the first thing that comes to mind. The first thing that comes to mind is like the obvious reason why that's like wrong. But damn, it is tough. That's fucking rough. I need Andrew Wilson to schedule a fucking debate with me. Okay, that's what I need.
That motherfucker has been talking about this just for so long. Andrew, if you're watching this shit, because I know you like to pop into these streams sometimes, motherfucker, you've been talking about it for so. You even said that we were dodging. When is it gonna happen?
Real shit.
Motherfucker, we're running straight towards it.
I need to, because like the Crucible surely has an amassment of retards I could talk to, right? Like surely there is like 4 billion dumb motherfuckers in Andrew's pocket who are like willing to take the debate with me. And it's even better now too, because y'all have like not seen me over like last year. I have like I've gotten better at debate than I used to be. And so I really, and so is Dakota's gotten leagues better at debate. Fucking just going back onto the Crucible would be hysterical, because I know there's so many people who would take that debate up and just get washed. Like, it wouldn't be close. It wouldn't be like a close competition. It would just be like really funny. And I just want some really funny shit. I want some really funny, like, real debate shit. I want to be talking to somebody about something that actually fucking matters. like really matters in like the grand scheme of things.
This
Not
motherfucker
like
just hit let me in moments after being dragged in.
no, it was moments before being dragged in. I saw it. I dragged him in.
This motherfucker? What? No, this motherfucker just
I
DM'd
see.
me it.
Oh no, he said in the stream chat.
My bad, G.
8:54 p.m. Let me in.
So, yeah, so do you know anything about how Nicholas Diorio is basically mad now at Sunday?
Oh, why is Nicholas Diorio mad at Sunday?
So Sunday, so you know, you've watched the video, at least the video Sunday put out, right, Bunk?
Doesn't he put out like 4 billion videos?
He put out.
Do you mean the one on Destiny?
He put out one originally and 2 on the conversation. The first conversation, the 30-minute one, he did some clipping out of context. Now it doesn't really change that much of what was actually said, but he did take him out of context and record him without like permission during the VC. I'm pretty sure that it is in one-party consent state, so like legally doesn't matter, but did it out of context. And then for the 15-minute thing, he just like basically had what was supposed to be a private conversation and just aired it out. And what Nicholas is worried about is that leak will really hurt Pixie. Like letting info out will spread in a way that hurts. And also Sunday made that point earlier with a previous leak with Mr. Bell.
Fuck, isn't it already out? Isn't it like a fucking public like lawsuit that's filed?
Yeah, yes, but it wasn't. It was.
Am I like mistaken?
Secret. It was an open secret.
That the lawsuit was
It was
filed?
one of the things. No, I'm talking about the news before that, where they, like the stuff that like with the Pixie stuff came out like after that. Most of it was basically it was told by I forget the dude, but there's this one dude who went around basically leaking everything, and he kind of just like. And he was kind of, we don't know who he was, but he was just kind of letting everything out to everybody. And so that's kind of why Sunday leaked, is because it was like an open secret.
Sunday leaked it because it was like an open secret.
At least that's the most defensible way, I think, of giving it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe like in regards to the Nicholas Diorio thing, I don't know the specifics, but if it's just like this will cause it to spread more and that could hurt Pixie, I'm like super fucking skeptical of like that kind of argument. I don't know if he's made it though.
I think it's also
the issue hold on real quick. The issue I have with that kind of argument, or just to be clear, the issue I've got with that kind of argument is just that we can't just calculate in just Pixie's consideration. We also have to calculate in the fact that this was a repeat pattern of behavior with Destiny. And if it's not the case that he loses his audience for it, he still has this fucking pool of people to be predatory toward.
I agree with Sunday what he did. I just think the problem is that I would point out that Pixie was like very suicidal. Talked about how like basically if the parents find out about this, if this spread, like they will like basically kill themselves. Is basically what Pixie was saying. Now we don't know if that was like suicide baiting or not, but it seemed like Pixie was making statements to the regard of like they would kill themselves.
Yeah, I mean I've seen that. It's pretty fucked. It seems like Pixie is of the position though. It seems like Pixie is of the position that the only way to stop she refers to him as Steven, to stop Destiny from doing this shit going forward is to make sure that he suffers some severe consequence.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. It just seems like that's just what Nicholas Diorio is saying. I think Nicholas Diorio was being kind of fucking stupid, but it's very useful to give what he's saying just as like an overview. Because he did a full 4-hour stream.
Like I don't really know anything, so I'm not saying it's like something. I don't know if Nick did anything stupid.
I think he was just like, at least from how I've read everything, he was just kind of being like very stupid about some procedural stuff. Where it seemed like in general Sunday did it well. Sunday had some minor bad behaviors, but on the whole, releasing the information about Destiny will probably be a hit to Sunday's career, but with a positive thing for Sunday to do.
He's kind of a hero in that way. If you think about it.
Yeah,
he's like a self-sacrificial hero. He's like
just
jumping over the grenade for everybody. Thank you, President Sunday.
I will
Praise be.
my social connection to take yours out, Destiny.
Maybe he just said that. Wait, no, I just think it's autism. He just like didn't realize that this would probably like He just didn't know.
I'm sure he realized. I'm sure he knew this was gonna be like a hit to him. I think that unironically, I think that like he just doesn't really care that much about self-interested behavior as much as he cares about
Hating Destiny.
Yeah, getting Destiny. And that's not meant as like a condemnation or something. Like he deserved to get got.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
Destiny
some of the behavior
did just
was-
like falsely accuse President Sunday of being a pedophile.
That's crazy.
Sunday can do no wrong to Destiny. It's fucking gloves
Like he
off.
just, and then like Destiny tried to leverage it against President Sunday to stop talking about him, and like stop.
That's
you know, what I mean, this is
Well,
like
you-
very
you
real.
know
This
about
is
the
just a
clip-
very real thing that happened.
Yeah.
It's
The
so
Destiny drama stuff is
fucking
crazy.
bizarre.
Especially because this is like he's been doing this behavior since he fucking started streaming.
Yeah, well,
I
just
just
Destiny
wish there was
things.
ways.
Just Destiny things.
Mm.
I mean,
I
like,
wonder if
is there fucking God? Can we fucking raise our standards for content creators? Just like raise the bar a little bit off the fucking ground for
probably
like
all
2 seconds.
flow
For just
through Destiny
like
and Vosh.
as in terms of being like a morally decent person, just like a little bit decent. Like, I'm not saying they have to be perfect. They don't have to be the next coming of Christ. Just like not a piece of shit.
the problem is all
there used to
flows
be a
through
period
Vosh.
in time. There used to be a period in time in which the way that you blew up in the debate space is you jump in and you just have some deranged sounding position and then you defend it really good. So it'd be like, incest is morally neutral, and then you get a bunch of clips for that. You'd be like, I use tactical inward, and then you get a bunch of clips for that. This isn't just me describing Bunk in particular. That's not what
Absolutely.
I meant to do.
Absolutely. I mean, it was
real
funny
shit,
as
though. It's
fuck.
like
I love that
yeah,
debate
like,
with Aiden.
you
That
were
shit was
using-
hysterical.
It's a very interesting debate. But the point is, like, you were using the strategy, but like obviously there's a certain type of person that has a proclivity towards the strategy, right? Like you can use the strategy and be just fine. Like you don't have to be a fucking terrible person to use it. But people who like want to argue about the moral neutrality of incest, there's gonna be a tendency. They're gonna be
I also
weird.
think that there's a tendency, one with Vosh becoming more insular, and also the death of the like panel thing. I think Vosh acted kind of as a counter to Destiny, where it's like they're both shitty, but they're shitty in such a way as to make the other person less shitty. Does that make sense? Kind of like a critical support to comrade Stephen Caspinell.
I don't. I'm not sure. That's
That's the
true.
reason I would read it. It's like I think they at least
let's be
kept each
very
other from
clear.
engaging in their worst
The
behavior.
fucking the like mowing down dipshit protesters line was like, you cannot tell me that Vosh didn't have a little bit to do with it, a tiny bit.
That's probably fair. I also think the death of the debate panel meant there's like no new life in the debate scene. So it's just the same like shitty people getting more and more insular. Because like the debate panel was how like new streamers would get started. Like I think that's how like Hans had his breakout. How that one stupid dude Sonsol got in. Actually, now that I name it, I'm like naming a bunch of fucking idiots.
I think Bunk and Sanzel are cool. I'm kind of cool with Sanzel.
Sansol's chill. I'd like to talk to
I thought he had some
Sansol
stupid
again.
take
I want to
on
talk to
issues.
Sansol about morals. I want to talk to him
I'm
about
friendly
morals
with him, but he had a
broadly.
stupid take on. I'm friendly with him, but I think he has some stupid take on IP, if I remember correctly, Israel Palestine stuff.
He's got a lot of dumbass takes. I was arguing with him on fucking Twitter the other day about fucking veganism. and
Yeah, I
his
know. I
arguments
saw it. That's
shit.
why I want to argue with him about morals.
And I
I don't
think
even like
Hans of Harkir is
debate
just, like,
lord him on morals. I just want to like talk to him about morals. See if he like has the like intuitions about like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
Look
yeah,
at
Hans
me
of
from
Harkir
Facebook.
is
What's up?
crazy.
Hi. Hello. Normally I have my camera on. I don't. This is a weird stream. I fucked up. It's okay. Sorry, I was just wanting to chat.
Whatever happened to Hans of Harkir? That
Your audio fucked itself.
What happened
You're
to
just asking what happened to Hans of Harkir. I think
Hans?
that I don't know. There was something that happened. I don't remember.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think he just took a break, if I remember correctly. He just was like kind of done with the shit.
I thought he had a meltdown too, though.
He
He
did.
did
There was his meltdown.
Uh,
yeah.
Well, that's
I
fun.
know.
I think, what was
SPL.
it?
God,
was,
that's
was it
fun.
just people shitting on him or something?
I think he got like blown out on a take, and I think it was like the Pride stuff, the Kink at Pride stuff. I think he lost the debate pretty badly there, and people just kind of
it was to he lost that debate. Was it to fucking what was it? Demon Mama's
losing a debate to Demon Mama has to be like the worst thing. That could,
No,
how do you
Demon
lose?
Mama's
a-
partner? I thought. Was
Okay,
it
I was like,
Demon Mama or Demon Mama's partner? Am I tripping? I thought it was like Dope Person.
Oh yeah, and Demon
Losing
Mama
a debate
comes
to
out to be a
Demon
piece
Mama
of shit too.
Isn't that weird?
Oh yeah, no, she's got a pedophile in her
Like,
house.
of course, like we could like intuit that. I feel like, but like,
She's also
That's
like a
really-
terrible debater. I don't know how she got so popular. She's just like, I don't get the likability there. Like I get like
what?
I get most of the other. I get the like appeal of any of the other major political streamers. I don't know what Demon Mama does besides be friends with Vosh.
What?
Oh yeah,
Actual. Wait. What?
he does do that. He has the one gimmick I forgot.
What?
Yeah, no.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, she had the one gimmick I forgot. What? The big 325.
Bunk, you're my favorite that Femi has on her stream. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. That's super sad. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think the panel was kind of good. I wish there was somebody who brought back the panel because I think the only person still really doing panels is that fucking is the Crucible. But like the Crucible, the guy running it is a fascist. To be fair.
I desperately need to get back on the Crucible. I so badly need to get back on the Crucible. I'm wondering what is stopping Andrew. What is the holdup?
Andrew's views are fucking reprehensible. I'll say I completely agree. He has some of the worst views, but he's so fucking nice to me interpersonally.
He is really he's really nice interpersonally. He's like incredibly nice. Like last time we talked, he just like recommended me a video game, asked if I would play with him. Like the dude's just like super chill. Like fucking and that makes it so much funnier to see Andrew Wilson like fuck up a feminist. Like feminist what is it, whatever podcast? That makes it so much funnier to see this shit on your like YouTube Shorts feed or whatever. It's like so hysterical.
It sucks. It's funny as fuck, but it sucks.
I
hate watching it. It's
it's
so unfair. Some motherfucker who has no idea how to debate, getting debate bro the fuck out of.
The
it.
argument
And it's
that you're
like,
making is,
look,
as
she's not
he's
even
up-
a bad person. She's just wrong. But sometimes I mean, to be fair, sometimes he like picks out these people and they're like reprehensible pieces of shit. Can't defend everyone you debate. But there are a lot of individuals that are just stupid, and it's not their fault. They're not even saying anything mean or wrong or fucked up at all. They're just stupid.
I have to demonstrate this. These are the types of things I see this shit on my YouTube Shorts feed, and it was so bizarre after like knowing Andrew for ages. Like before he was like on these fucking podcasts or whatever. It's so funny.
Other service sectors have opened up.
Yeah.
Men are
If anybody who still does
gravitating
panels,
into-
I know
Holy
Dylan
shit.
Burns had some shit. Prime Cave, I don't know where they are now, where he is now.
I'm fucking.
Really? John-
I'm just gonna deafen. I'm playing it while
those
deafened.
service sectors instead of just manual labor.
I'm not gonna be
right?
an asshole.
Yes.
Then how come women
I'm a
are
nice guy.
gravitating towards the manual labor sections?
Because the manual labor sections have been either taken over by technology.
No, they haven't. Has roofing been taken over by technology?
No, but what is it? It doesn't necessarily.
Has construction been taken over by technology? Roofing has even gardening, basic gardening. What about lawn mowing, lawn care? In fact, almost all labor I can think of, which now is heavily inundated with machines, still totally dominated by men.
But
Almost
there's
no
a
women
lot
do it at
less
all.
men in average doing those jobs compared to before because you have had machinery
Yeah, dude,
replaced.
but-
if it took three,
this
if
argument still makes no sense. Let her
please.
finish,
If it took 5 men to redo a roof or whatever,
Sure.
now it takes 2, right?
Yeah, why isn't one of them a woman?
No, because the point is, as a society as a whole, we have just moved away from manual labor. So obviously,
This
a
argument
woman
makes no sense.
Yes.
The argument.
Sometimes there's funk music. Bugs, you like a person to watch YouTube shows? I don't. I like I've indulged a little bit, like a tiny bit in YouTube Shorts. Not. I'm not gonna lie. Is it just me or like YouTube sucks now? Like the algorithm is so bad. It's trash. Like everything about this is like trash. Broadly. Like most of the shit I get recommended, I just have no interest in watching. Like I'll watch fucking Vemios or whatever, this buddy, right? Zero interest whatsoever in watching Papa Gut minds disintegrates as he digs deeper into Destiny leaks. I don't want to watch that. I don't want to watch Punisher Skulls Are Dumb, legally speaking. I don't want to watch Drake Can't Stop Snitching by Jamari. Right? Like there's so much shit that just is like, right, it's like all slop. It's all terrible slop. Nobody, like even the stuff about hyperfixations, I'm autistic as fuck too, right? But like even the stuff about hyperfixations, like I fucking love cars, right? All of my shit about cars, it's like fucking some lame ass shit. It's like some fucking AI generated like slop content that is worthless. Like it just be like rambling. It should be some shit that I just like. Oh yeah, I just know that's false. Like now you're saying I know that's false. I already know that's false.
But it's like it's served to me anyway. It's served on like a silver platter. It's like all fucking made by AI. Okay.
Yo, I can't help but notice you were like, I don't want to watch, but then the bar was red.
Cause like sometimes you like get autoplayed some shit and you're like, that's gay.
No, I
That's
get
so
you. I get you.
gay.
Sometimes you just like, you look at a video and you're like, damn, well, every video is shit. May as well.
Like I don't even remember clicking on this shit. I don't remember even being on this shit. I've never seen this video before in my fucking life. I swear to God.
Did you see the TikTok fascist takeover, by the way?
Oh yeah, we all saw
TikTok
that.
Fascist take.
Low-key, YouTube Shorts might be the last decently political way of doing any short-form content.
This is his worst nightmare. The allegations you need to know. Exploiting Asians for profit. What the fuck is this thumbnail? What has happened to YouTube? Remember when some like random motherfucker playing a video game? You guys remember that?
How many ads do you
Guys,
get a video now? Like, how many ads do
I
you
have
get a
YouTube
minute?
Premium.
Oh my god, soy.
No,
I have ad block.
it's actually great. YouTube
I
Premium
need to-
gives
I
you
need
like
to
all of
jailbreak
YouTube
my
music
phone.
and then like none of the like dumb shit from whenever you're like
See, I
watching
looked at
videos
my
on your
music
phone.
physically because I'm cool like that. Yeah, you won't get it.
God. Oh my fucking god. Oh, I listen to my music on a format subjectively worse. And it's fucked up when you have dust in it.
No, you analog quality does give you some benefits for sound quality, especially if you have a wired speaker setup. Alongside that, some CDs have better encoding from what I remember. Because you can get lossless audio on some CDs, give you better loss.
Yeah, you can do that digitally too.
Yeah, that's more annoying to do because it's only on some platform that have it.
Kill your soul by watching.
Yeah, that's also true to the CDs.
Absolutely.
Also, like vinyls also do have some additional analog qualities which do get benefits, and that's very easy to
But
do.
you know they're cutting those fucking vinyls with MP3s. You know that's what they're doing.
I get vintage vinyls.
Oh, you get the vintage vinyl.
I do.
Instead of like having loss from data compression, you have loss from the fact that there's fucking shaking in the room.
If you know kept well, they can still play like really well.
Even if they play well, you're losing information.
See, this is where the psychotic
download a FLAC.
need for structural.
Yeah, either use the fucking high bit rate MP3 or use FLAC. Use any lossless format. You can use fucking Apple's too.
Yeah, but then I don't get to see a cool thing spin around, and I don't get to
that's what it's about.
There you go.
There we are.
I don't get more superiority in my listening.
I don't get to see the cool thing spin around. This is why this motherfucker still wears a propeller hat.
Real, I do. It lets me fly if I do it really fast.
If you do it real quick, like.
Yeah, I gotta get to hover for a little bit.
Oh my god.
You never get white boy jumps high.
That's why I only get hyperfixated on games like the same modding and replayability. I already am like hyperfixated on Team Fortress 2. I think that's enough. I think that's fucking enough.
Hyperfixation on
It's enough as it
TF2 in
is.
the big 2025.
What?
TF2 in the big 2025 is kind of crazy, dog.
Come
It's
on,
good.
shut the fuck up. It's great.
It's good.
Yeah, like except Valve doesn't even care about the game anymore.
And it's still good. Isn't that crazy? There are games that developers care about that are bad.
You know, my game
And this
hasn't
one's
been
good.
updated in like thousands of years. Okay.
It turns out if you don't release a piece of shit game, you actually don't have to constantly update it.
Yeah, but there are like a bunch of changes the community wants from last time I checked. I haven't checked in our game in a while. So last time I
Yeah,
did,
community's always bit. They always bit.
yeah. And I hopped in the VC one. I hopped in like the game, and like where I do, the VC is always terrible. It's just N-word.
I love the VCs. They're amazing.
The community on TF2 is incredible. Like half transgender.
Yeah. Most
That's
are cool.
true.
I'm
And
just
then the
talking
other
about
half
my
are
friends.
Nazis.
Well, actually, a lot of them are trans
Can I
Nazis,
relate
to be
to
fair.
No.
Yeah,
No, they're not.
Yeah, they aren't that.
You've never run into atrocity?
No, I have. They're just not on TF2.
That sounds very slurish. That sounds very slurful.
What,
Jesus.
atrocity?
Holy
that's-
shit. Calm
That
down.
was so slurful.
Jesus
I don't know what you're
Christ.
talking about. So look, okay. Okay, I'm better than the US president right now.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm better than Do you think that
Fuck
stupid
that.
law? Do you think that stupid virtue signaling executive order, the two genders one?
Yeah, have you seen the fact that in the executive order, it based it on what your sex is at conception?
That's crazy.
Which means we're all women now.
That's
Yo,
so based. Holy shit, that's
I get to call people bitch. I get to call women bitches now without any repercussions. Let's
That's
go.
actually exactly how it works. Absolutely.
Mm.
All right.
What do you mean, Mel? What do you
I'm
mean,
gonna
Mel
get into
socialization?
I'm gonna wrap up the shit because nobody's coming in. It's fucking expected. Nobody's got any kind of arguments.
Where's
with the
Moxie?
shit I've said. Nobody has an issue with me on Twitter. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely glorious.
You should,
I'm gonna
you
wrap
should
up
react
the
to the.
stream. I don't know how to rate into somebody. How do you rate into somebody on YouTube? How do you do that? How do I
I'm
do
gonna look it
that
up
with
right now.
the game?
Wait,
How do I
you should react to the Nicholas Diorio
do
stream.
I should react to the Nicholas Diorio stream?
The one where he's getting mad at Sunday.
Here we go. I found it.
Like right now?
This feature is available to creators sending a redirect that have more than 1,000 subscribers and have no community guideline strike.
I might have a community guideline strike. That
In
might
your
be
video-
true. I might just have a community guideline strike. That's probably
Yeah,
the
so
case.
you go to YouTube Studio, you click on Content, you go to the Live tab, you click Edit, Customization, then under Redirect, you click the Add button. It'll be blue. There's, like, the word
Customization. Add a redirect. I understand now. Search the videos from other channels to redirect to, because I'm not a fucking pussy. I'm not gonna redirect my own shit. Not a little bitch. All right. I had a fun time talking on stream with everybody. It was nice to see everybody in the chat. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll try and be live like every 2 weeks or so. I don't know. We'll kind of see. We'll see if there's shit worth talking about every 2 weeks or so. Hopefully we get to chat some more with some more people. Hopefully the President Sunday shit happens at some point soon. Hopefully my camera works still, and I can get that set up again, because it broke for no reason whatsoever. I'm about to send you all into the Femio's stream, so you all can have a fantastic time. Make sure to tell them that I sent you there. Make sure to harass them. Do targeted harassment on YouTube. I'm telling you right now. Get in the chat and say very nice things.
Call him a atrocity.
In like a harassing type of way. Like in a very harassing, like an aggressive, like a nice thing to say. You get it. You guys understand. You get the assignment. All right.
Yeah,
I'm gonna head out.
blend in with the other Vimeo streamers.
Yeah, make sure.
Vimeo's
Make
scattered.
sure. All right. I'm gonna head out. Y'all have a fantastic night, and I'll see y'all in the next one.